but I had like a brain fart, bro. I told Zay texted me. He said 12 or 1, and I said 1 for some reason. I was like, I was out of it. I guess I don't know, but
Yeah.
knowing Zay, he probably cleared up 12. Let me see. He probably cleared up 12 anyways. Yeah, yeah. He said he's good in like 10 minutes, so he
Hey, has
cleared up.
anybody
But
ever told you you kind of look like T-Pain?
it's funny. I used to get that when I used to bounce. They're like,
It's
yo,
the, I don't know, it's like the headset, glasses, and shit, like the dread. I didn't really
they're
see. I'm
like
like, you look like somebody to me. I couldn't think about it until like right now. It finally came to me.
watching the comments. Everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, T Pain, buff T
That's what it.
Pain,
I'm
T
telling
Pain."
you. I guarantee you, everybody look at you like this guy has a look. I just can't put my finger on it. It's T-Pain.
They kept saying that Jordan looks like if Ian and Regan had a baby. You saw that?
No, no, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen it yet.
I think his physique kind of looks like a mix of both of them too, though.
Of Ian and who?
Ian and Regan.
Oh fuck, dude, I could totally see
I could. He got that like graininess almost, but then he's
that.
aesthetic as well. You know what I'm saying? How's the off season push going?
Yeah. Oh, bro, I'm over it.
You know what's huh? Go ahead.
I was gonna say like this is my last week,
Yeah.
and Justin actually pulled back food,
Mhm.
but I'm so close to 300 pounds, bro. I didn't change anything. I'm like, man, I just want to see
You
it
want to hit it. You want to hit it.
because
Yeah, yeah,
because I've hit it, but not the morning of. Like, so I've seen the number,
yeah,
but I didn't wake up butt ass naked, step on the scale, and said 300.
yeah, yeah.
I was
Well,
297.4 yesterday.
oh damn. And
Yeah, so I'm
you're like almost 5'9". You think 5'8",
yeah, I'm a
five and a
little under
half.
5'9".
But okay, so at this point, right? Even if you drop the calories by 500, it's still miserable anyways. So you might as well, you know what I'm saying?
Might as well just ride this bitch out one last week. I'm gonna end up knocking off 5 to 10 pounds right away. Like
Yeah,
once the health phase is over, it's gonna be off me, like just like that.
exactly.
So I'm like, you know what? The way I look at it, my goal was to step on stage around 240, 245. So
Yeah.
I'm for sure in my head gonna be there. Like I know that's
Oh
gonna be
yeah.
what.
And it's funny. You said that last podcast. You said more than likely like around 240. And I would agree for most people, but for you, the way your composition changes, I think you're gonna be heavier. Because most people, let's say the average person, right? The average bodybuilder, if they look like you right now, right? They're gonna drop quite a bit. But when I watch you, you don't drop as much weight as you would think you would need to drop, right? You you
Yeah,
always end up you always end up a little heavier than you would think so, you know?
yeah, yeah. That's what happens to me every time. But it's funny, like a couple people they'll say what's up to me, right? And they'll pat me on the body, like the shoulder, the back. Like, damn, dude, what the fuck? You're hard as fuck.
That's the
I'm
thing.
like, I train heavy and stuff, so there's like dense muscle tissue under here.
100%. Well, and then
But
the way people carry their weight is different. Robert Strand.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so it's funny because I had commented on his post yesterday. Let me share the screen. But he's similar to you in that way. But let me make sure I don't got nothing weird up. Hold up 1 second. I got this. All right. Yeah, he's similar to you in that. Oh, what the fuck did I just do? Okay, he's similar to you in that yeah, he looks completely different off season, right? And you would think, oh, this guy gonna have to lose fucking 80 pounds to get in shape. But then his body just transforms. You're like, what the fuck? He don't even look like the same person, you know?
Yeah,
But like you, he trains pretty heavy and it's just a lot of dense muscle, but everybody doesn't just look rock hard off season. That's like very few people. And that's the mistake people do. They look at some of these people like Stu and they're like, "Oh, I want to look that hard off season," but you can't do that. You just make no gains. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? Because you got to keep in mind, people like that, they're still putting Stu is still pushing the food high. That's just how his body looks off season. But the funny part is Stu still has to lose 40 pounds to step on stage, anyways. You know, or like
yeah,
Janicki. You see how Janicki looks pretty lean, but he still
yeah.
has to drop. He still has to drop 40 pounds anyway. So it's like just because it really doesn't matter how you look off season. It's how much progress you make. Nobody gives a fuck how you look. Are you making the progress? You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
Yeah,
but
bro.
like
Like my off season, I look like a defensive lineman. I don't look like a bodybuilder.
exactly. Like look at him on stage, right? His waist looks good taper,
Yeah.
everything. But then I've seen him in some of these off seasons. I'm like, holy fuck, what the fuck? Let me see if I can find a good one. Because I remember he took like a big off season too. This actually isn't even that bad for him.
Yeah, that's
This
pretty.
is probably impressive. But yeah, I saw like a deep off season one, and it's like, bro, it's not even the same guy on stage.
It's hard to find somebody willing to show their deep off season. Their deep off season.
Oh yeah.
Like
I, I,
nobody wants to show what they look like. I don't give a fuck myself because
yeah,
I like to show the reality of it. That's how I make my progress, and people understand how it happens. But
yeah. And
it's
then
not a pretty look.
you get shredded regardless, so it's almost irrelevant. But I remember me and Boston used to talk about that because most people never show their peak off season. They start taking pictures like 12 weeks out, right? But what you don't realize is they've been dieting for 8 weeks already. You
Yeah,
know,
bro. And my
so
last
they'll
prep was
be
almost 20 weeks.
yeah, so they'll be like 12 weeks out, and everybody just assumes that they just now started the prep because they're 12 weeks out,
Yeah.
but they already dieted 8 weeks of fat off. You know what I'm saying? So you can't be scared to post it because it's irrelevant. It's just you're going to be shredded on stage, right? So you don't really care how much
Yeah.
body fat you have, in
Like I
the
said,
off
like
season.
I've always talked about body weight going hand in hand with your training. And a lot of the lifts you guys have been seeing me do are lifts that I've never been able to do before, but I've also never
Mhm.
been able to be this heavy.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
like some of these things that I'm moving, it's still new tension on the muscle, but I'm able to do it for reps and handle it because my body weight's so high.
yeah.
So
Let me.
helps.
I actually just saw you post this video. Okay, so I wasn't aware you was this strong until recently. Were you always this strong, or have you got a lot stronger recently?
Honestly, I've always been this strong. This is the strongest I've ever been. So,
Okay,
like
okay.
prior to this off season, like I was able to do 4 plates, 12s there,
Uh-huh.
um, but I never. Uh, I think the most I ever did before USA's was 4 1/4 for like 5. So I
Bro,
like got stupid strong this off season.
bro, 5 plates is a lot of weight. 5 plates is a lot of weight. I think it's so much weight that most people don't don't even realize how impressive it is, right? Because it's so far out of most people's spectrum of chest training that they couldn't even fathom how heavy this shit is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And like I said, huh?
even Paul was because he didn't train with me. He didn't
Yeah,
train with me on Monday, and he couldn't believe I was able to do that.
yeah. What's up, Stu?
Uh, I was
Hey, Mr. Beef.
I'm gonna be completely honest.
Uh-huh. What happened?
You hear me?
Huh? Yeah. We
All
can
right.
see you and hear you. What you saying?
All right. Yeah, I was napping. I'll be completely honest.
And me and Joe been going for like 20 minutes.
Holy shit.
No,
Yeah, I just
no,
got to link over to
I'm just
David too. So
all right, perfect. No, but yeah, it is one thing to watch your video and be like, okay, that's impressive. But like when you go, like when I went and trained with y'all, right, and me actually attempting that 4 plate shoulder press, right, you realize how fucking heavy this shit is. Like, you almost got to be there to be like,
Yeah.
this shit is fucking heavy, bro. You know what I'm saying? So that's impressive. You don't see too many guys doing that. And then,
I've always trained that way, like pyramid style up to a top weight. Even
mhm,
when I was natural for 12 years.
yeah,
So I just carried that kind of training into an enhanced version of myself, and the
mhm.
weight just kept going up.
I think we kind of talked about that, right? It's like this is how everybody should train, right? The only time you change it is if you can't physically train heavy anymore because, like me and Stu, like knee pain and fucking shit like that fucks you up.
no, yeah,
Yeah, no,
Or
you find other ways, but this is the foundation of bodybuilding. Like Ronnie
110%.
Coleman said it best: you miss you lift the heaviest weight possible for as many reps as you can. That's how you build muscle. And like in the post, I put like effort, like you can't teach it, right? Based on the last podcast we were on.
Yeah.
And that's why I decided to show something like this, because like look at my fucking face. That shit was heavy as fuck. Like,
yeah,
I couldn't breathe after that set. You know, like I was exhausted.
I think
the only time you start to go away from this style of training, it's only if you have to. Like I said, if it's a pain injury thing, or if it's not working, because sometimes it might work for certain body parts, you know, but in some body parts they're like, okay, this is not working. It's like, let's say calves, for instance, right? I used to train calves so fucking heavy, and I'm like, these shits ain't growing, you know. So it's like I still train them heavy, you know, that's the thing. But I definitely changed the form so much just because I'm like, I got to try something else, right? So if it's not working, then you got to find something new. Or if you're injured,
I always say like there's more than one way to skin a cat, right? But you only do that if you have to.
Exactly.
I'm not a huge fan of like going super heavy on arm work anymore. I don't do anything under like 10 reps really if I'm doing things properly.
Oh, I never go under 10 reps.
I don't think I go into 10 reps for anything really. You know,
really?
Because because I had got to like, you know, I had got to a point where I felt like my strength was so high that if I did, it started becoming dangerous. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, let's say Joe, for instance, right? Joe is doing 5-plate incline press. What happens when Joe is strong enough to do 6-plate incline press? At what point does he go, you know what, maybe let me do 5 1/4 for 12 instead of doing 6 for 8? You know what I'm saying?
Okay, because, so a prerequisite to that, before I ever touch like that much more load, like for example, I'm able to do 4 plates for 15 reps already.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I mean, I got to that rep range before I decided to go heavier, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah. It's like the goal is to get as strong as possible with the best form, and as long as the muscle is progressing, right? So when it becomes a thing where, okay, let's say Ian for instance, Ian got to a point where he was inclining. He actually came to Gold's Venice, and it was him and Nick Walker at Gold's Venice, and they were both incline pressing. I think it was 5 1/4, bro. Right. And then guess what? Yeah.
Wait,
but then Nick and Nick Walker and Ian, they both did it for at least like 6 reps.
What the fuck?
Well, first of all, a lot of people don't know Nick is strong, but I got to keep in mind, a lot of people started following Nick after he was already Arnold Classic champion. You know, I'm from the East Coast, so I've been seeing Nick around since I had him on this podcast before he was even a pro. You know,
when he was in fucking parents' basement. You remember that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So people don't realize that he was pressing to 225 dumbbells like pretty easily with the same perfect form. So yeah, so the thing is that they both got to that point, but Ian and Nick's chest stopped growing, right? Because at that point it was so much weight that they couldn't even feel their chest, right? That's the third reason that you can start going back. So, you know, they probably backed off to, I don't know, to 4 plates. Then eventually they completely changed it. I don't know if I would completely change it, but yeah, same as squats. I got to sets of, let me see if I can pull them up. But I got to sets of 10 with 6 plates, right? Once you get to 10 sets of 10 with 6 plates, right? Then I was like, okay. I even went up to I don't know if I can find the video. It's kind of old. Then I went to 6 1/4, and then every time I do 6 1/4, something would give, right? My back would be. Can you search your own page? How do I do that? I just gotta go to my profile. Profile. Yeah. So then I'm doing 6 1/4. Every time I do 6 1/4, something gives. My lower back is out for 7 days. Now I'm getting a shit back workout because my lower back hurts, and then my knees. And so at that point, I'm like, listen, if I can't grow big legs from 6 plates, it ain't gonna happen from 6 1/4. So there is gonna be a limit, right? Like I said, Joe, at some point, Joe is gonna get to 6-plate incline. And at that point, Joe is gonna be like, okay, every time I do this 6-plate, now my fucking elbow is inflamed. And then now my next chest workout, I can barely train chest. So that's most people are so far away from this that they don't have to worry about that, you know. But when you get to the upper echelon of like you maxing out your physique and strength, that's things to consider. You know, Ronnie squatted 800 pounds. He didn't go in the gym and squat 800 pounds every workout. You know, he even said in the video, "This is my first time doing this," and I bet you
Oh,
that probably was his last time doing it. You know what I'm saying?
the last time I even benched anything close to that, it was at a Madhouse gym, and that shit was like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
So I it's very rare when you guys see me go for like a crazy ass amount that I'm not used to. But there's some days I'm just feeling it. I'm like, well, fuck, today's the day I'm gonna go for it then.
There's gonna be, you know, there's always gonna be some kind of ceiling where you're gonna have to maybe reassess and be like, okay, if I can't grow my legs with this weight, maybe going up isn't the answer, right? Maybe I might have to change something. And for me as well, my legs was probably my weakest body part last year at the USA's. So it's like, okay, if I have the strongest legs here and it's not, you know, it's not a strong part, then I have to maybe start to switch things up.
Oh, you know what? I have a good example for you guys. So I was just talking to my buddy about it, how because he was talking about my 6-plate Smith squat, right? And the last time I attempted 6 plates was January 6th, because I remember I told Paul for his birthday, that I'm going to get 10 for him. Because prior to that, the most I ever did was like 7 reps. And so I did 6 plates for 10 reps on January 6th of last year. And I got under 6 for the first time a year later, pretty much. And I only got 2 more reps. So it took me a year to get 2 extra reps on that squat.
Yeah.
Well, but an idea of how long it takes to progress when the loads are that fucking high.
You also wasn't like making that like a priority to like, you know, like if you did it every week, then you probably would have caught up, you know. But
I don't just go for PRs like that all the time. It's just when you're feeling good, you're feeling good, so you just fucking do it.
Exactly. So this is 9 plates, I believe, if I'm counting right. And then at that point, my knees are fucked, you know. And I'm like, okay, what's the pros and cons to this? You know, are my legs gonna grow any faster, or am I just in pain? You know, so at that point, if you just have a strong body part, like I think for you, like your pressing is like super strong, right? Like abnormally strong. That's when you almost have to like gauge it and be like, okay, at what point am I like risking more than I'm gaining, right?
Yeah.
This was like I think 2 or 3 weeks out, right? That's not good. You know, I don't think you should be doing that at 2-3 weeks out. You know what I'm saying? Even if you can, you know, because I didn't necessarily have the best pump from doing this, you know. So I don't know. It's a balance. I think there's something to be said for it still, you know. But there's gonna be a balance. Like I said, most people don't even have to worry about going too heavy. Most people are probably going too light, you know. But there's gonna be some people genetically where, like Stu, right? He could do like 100-pound side laterals, you know, at some point. but then the Stu go to 150s. I mean, if he keeps feeling it, sure. But at some point, if he's like, okay, now this is becoming like a trap dominant move, he might have to find like a different way, you know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's like there's a concept that I think it's what's his name, Scott Stevenson. He has a book called Fortitude Training. He's got this whole training set up, and it's like what he kind of focuses on, or one of the things he focuses on, is the concept of like effective reps. So, like if you do a set 10 to failure, then like the most effective reps are going to be like 7, 8, 9, and 10, right?
Yeah.
So if you can take that set and then like turn it into a rest pause set, and the effective reps are the really hard ones that you're struggling on at the end. So like if you can do like a rest pause or a drop set where like you do more of those really difficult reps that are like probably going to give you the most stimulus, but you don't have to go higher in weight, or you don't have to do like a whole other set, you know? then, you can start kind of hacking the system a little bit and get more stimulus without beating yourself up even more with more load or more volume or whatever, right?
Yeah. I might actually try that. I was watching a Dorian interview. It was like a pretty recent, and he was like, he used to basically do what most people do now, right? He would do a top set of like 6 to 8, then he would do like a back off set of like 10 to 15. That's like pretty common nowadays at least. And then he said he talked to Mike Menser, and Mike was like, okay, instead of, because he was like, why are you doing the second set? He was like, okay, because on the second set, I kind of clean up my form a little bit more, connect with the muscle a little bit more, and maybe get a better pump. And Mike was like, why can't you do that in one set? Don't you think you can connect? He's like, why can't you just focus on that one set all in one, going heavy as fuck and connecting at the same time and getting a good pump? And Dorian was like, how would you do that? And he would basically say what Stu said. Okay, now do a set and try to hit failure at 8 reps and then try to extend it. Do it, whether you do like a rest pause, do force reps with a spotter, something like that, and get it up to 15 anyways. So now you hit the 6 to 8 rep max, and you still got 15 because you got force reps. And if you watch like Blood and Guts, that's basically what Dorian did, right? He would do the bench, and maybe he would get like, I don't know, 6 reps, and the guy would help him for like 12 more, So that's something I might consider trying that, if it could save me time, if it could save me wear and tear, and if I feel just as good, if not better, maybe that might be the next step, I don't know. You don't know till you try it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, at a certain point, you have to try it because you get fucking old,
Huh?
At a certain point, you have to try it because you just get old.
Yeah. I mean, listen, if you would have told me to do 2 working sets and do 3 or 4 exercises, 8 years ago, I literally would say bullshit. I'm like, there's no way. I got to do 3, 4 working sets. I got to do about 7 exercises for me to feel anything. But what is that telling you? That's telling you your quality of sets is probably shit. Because if it takes you 30 sets to feel your back working, I mean, at that point, it's like maybe you just can't connect. You're just not doing it right. You should be able, like right now, if I do 1 hard working set, my first exercise, my back is lit up. But I couldn't do that 8 years ago. More shit isn't better. Like more junk, or I guess people say junk volume. More volume for the sake of volume with shitty reps and no connection. I don't believe you're gonna grow any more than doing the good shit, like the good sets, the good reps. Like make it count instead of just doing a bunch of nonsense, right?
Hey, I'm gonna jump off on my phone and hop on my computer. Okay, 2 seconds.
All right, but you're good.
You should always have really good pump after your first exercise. After your first exercise, you should have really good pump already. Like when I train my clients, I'll always say the first thing we're going to try to do is create blood flow to the muscle. That's going to help you with your connection with the muscle, and then we focus on the load after that. So that first exercise, we need to find all 3 of those, and then we can move on. Because unless you're doing that, you're kind of wasting your time.
Yeah, facts.
You can't feel the muscle, you're not going to build it.
I just admitted Zayd, but it like disappeared. Oh, there he goes.
Coming in?
Yeah, it's like, okay. Mike Israel said something, right? He was like, because him and Fuad were going back and forth on volume, and he was like, it's been proven that volume works as well. And he's like, well, yeah, if you're doing shitty sets, if you do enough shit sets, you could probably match my 1 all-out working set. But why would you do that? Why would you do 5 shitty sets to feel the muscle activate when you can do 1 really good set? I think it's a balance of both. I think some people can handle, like Compton would do great form and go to failure, but he was still able to handle 3, 4 working sets. But Compton was also 25 in his prime. Like most of us aren't 25, right? By the time Compton was in his 30s, I bet if you ask him now, Compton probably does a little bit less volume.
Yeah, my body cannot handle more than 1 failure set per exercise. Like Compton could do 3 failure sets every exercise.
Yeah, and a guy like
I end up getting hurt.
A guy like Brandon Curry, like when he started going over to Kuwait and, they were doing whatever they were doing with him over there, like his recovery improved a ton because all he was doing was bodybuilding, right? And then, what he was saying was like, I just started doing a lot more volume. And if you can get more stimulus and recover from it, like then I mean,
Then you
that's
go.
that's
Yeah.
great too. But like most
Yeah.
of us are just like physically incapable of that, no matter how much
Yeah.
food and drugs and perfect environment we had, if we're sleeping 12 hours a day. But like,
Yeah.
I mean, a guy like that maybe could. And that's when he became Mr. Olympia.
And
Yeah,
don't
keep in
don't
mind, like that training like Justin, I backed off on my loads. I wasn't lifting the way I am right now.
yeah.
And still, no matter what, something would give, or like I wouldn't like, I'd get like a nagging pain somewhere because I'm pushing
Yeah.
my body too far that from its own recovery. Couldn't.
Yeah. And most people though, like even Brandon Curry, if you watch his failure sets, it's like it's like maybe like a 1 or 2 rep shy of failure. Even if it looks like failure, like compared to like Compton's training, Compton would hit failure and then some. He would like hit failure and then he would start doing partials at the end, right? He would go beyond failure. Whereas if you watch Jay or Brandon or like the Kuwait guys train, even Nathan goes pretty close to failure a lot of time, but usually like they'll finish it. Like if they can't get one more like I guess perfect rep, they kind of stop. But they leave a little bit in the tank, you know.
Yeah, because they know you
Compton
got
was
3 or 4 more. I mean,
exactly,
and some
kind of
people, but I mean, the takeaway point is like some people can just recover from more shit than others.
yeah.
And if
Some
that's
people
not
can.
you, then figure out where that sweet spot is and then like stay there.
Where that's from. I remember Dallas did quite a bit of volume too, but we also got to keep in mind, like I said, Compton at his prime, Dallas at their prime, they were about 25, 26. So they were a lot younger than most of. I mean, I know Stu's that age as well, but Stu's body is like 30.
Hey, my birthday's in a week, by the way. So next
Yeah.
Wednesday podcast, I'll wear a
Oh,
hat or something.
When's your
you
birthday?
gotta celebrate.
January 10th.
Oh shit, that's my brother's birthday.
Oh, happy
Small
birthday to
world.
him.
Yeah, you guys are a lot alike. I can see that shit.
Yo, fucking Zayd got on, but then it
Yeah,
like
and then he dropped.
something happened. Yeah, let me see if it. But that happened. I think he's in his car. I think it's the connection. Oh no,
Oh,
he's
there
home
he
now.
is.
Okay, it was probably the connection.
Paul's
Zay.
birthday's on the 6th too.
What's
How
up,
you guys
Zay?
doing?
What's up,
Can't
Zay?
complain, Zay. Sorry about that. I told Zay that it was 1 o'clock, so I threw him off a little bit.
Oh, that's all
I
right, man.
I thought you were gonna be in Dubai. No.
I'm leaving not tomorrow, the day after.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I didn't know you had that same setup in Dubai. You got the mural in Dubai
I
as
mean,
well.
He just takes it with
imagine.
him. It's on his private jet,
That's funny.
Yeah, that's
When you
right.
when
How
you
you
go
guys
when you
doing?
we doing pretty good, man. Happy New Year. I don't think I saw you after New
Oh,
Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New
Happy
Year to
New Year.
everybody.
Happy New Year, bro.
Hey, Zayd went to Fit Nation the other day.
I saw
Hell
it,
yeah.
yeah.
Dude, it
Did
was so
did did,
cool.
did you see
Huge,
did you
huh?
see Joe?
No,
No.
I just missed him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he
Oh,
missed me
okay.
by like an hour. He got there like 12 and I had clients at 4. So
Yeah.
I was like,
That was on purpose, man. Don't
we
Yeah.
gotta stage. We gotta do a workout with 4 of us since we all here.
Bro,
Yeah.
that's a clusterfuck. We tried to do that down in Dallas, and it was like
It's
4
a lot,
people
yeah.
doing arms, and we ended up just breaking up into 2 groups of 2 because it was just taking forever.
I think that works better with legs because you're gonna be kind of fucked
Yeah.
up, But yo, Zayd, when you're in Dubai, are you gonna be on program or are you gonna be like that's like a vacation, just break?
No, I'm gonna still eat good, but I'm gonna have some cheat meals, to be honest. That's why,
Mhm.
like, after the USA's last year, dude, I kept it pretty clean all the way through December. So now that I go out there, I'm gonna enjoy myself for a little bit, and then come back and start my off season next year. I mean, next month.
Okay, yeah. I've never seen you like out of shape, but you've also never pushed your weight up like hard, right? You couldn't
No,
really. Yeah.
no, I
Yeah.
exactly because it makes the cut even worse. You know.
Yeah. That should be interesting.
Yeah.
How much you weighing right now? Like 232, 233?
Right now I'm about 210, my friend. I
What
haven't
the
been
fuck?
juicing. I haven't been juicing for 4 months, bro. Training 3 times a week, eating 4 meals a
Holy
day.
shit!
You know who
You
Yeah,
were
else hasn't
shredded on
been
stage
on
at like
in
220.
you know
I
who else
know.
hasn't
I
been
know.
on
Mm.
in like 4 months plus?
Oh,
Ken. So Ken's in our
really?
Discord. Yeah, Ken's in our Discord and he just started his log and he said he's been like on TRT and a little bit of growth hormone. Maybe I
Why?
shouldn't
Why
tell you.
though?
I he still looks fucking crazy. Like he put some
He
pictures
does.
up in there, but like I mean he's like still pretty lean, fucking bubbly as hell. I don't know. I think maybe he's just he's maybe focused on work or whatever instead.
Yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, he
You
hasn't
know,
even
like,
started his off season. He's already like 248, pretty lean. And yeah, crazy.
see, my brain, I always feel like I'm behind, so I'm always like in a rush, but not in a rush like back in the day when I was in my 20s. But like, I'm still like I feel like I can't miss a beat. I don't know. I feel
I
like most of us feel like that way. You know?
dude,
Uh,
I when I saw that, like Ken's been like chilling for so long, I was like, fuck, dude. Because I haven't the longest I've cruised in a while is like I usually do like 6 or 7 weeks at this point because my blood work is pretty good with what I'm doing. But like, man, if I were to take like 12, 13 weeks of just like TRT, what would I even look like at the end of that? You know? Like, because I
Not
haven't
that
done that in
different.
so long. Yeah, it'd just
Not
be
that
a
different as
mental
you would think.
fuck to like get
Yeah.
over that the first go, but and eventually be fine. I wouldn't lose any muscle or anything, but like
Mhm.
it's just a thing like a thing in my head. I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to do that eventually. I'm gonna feel
Yeah, when
so
I do the
depressed.
TRT thing, I look like a giant natty, overgrown natty guy.
Exactly how you look, right? Yeah. You look soft. Like it makes you look softer. Like you almost do look natural, a
Yeah,
big
you
ass
do.
motherfucking natural. So it's like the only person who notices is yourself. Like I'll be in the gym, I'm like, oh my god, but nobody else notices. Everybody's like, oh, you looking big, bro. What are you doing now? I'm like, oh yeah, you think so? Thank you. You know, like my actual scale weight doesn't even budge. The most maybe 3-4 pounds. But because, like you said, I actually I did 13 weeks off this time, 13 weeks on TRT, which
13.
I've, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think I've done that since in 2019. I did like 10, 11 months, but that was because I took the whole year off of bodybuilding. That was different. But besides that, I don't think I've ever done longer than 8 to 10 weeks, if that.
I
Usually
start
8
getting
weeks.
that look after coming off. Like by the fourth week, I start to look like that.
Yeah, but then it doesn't get much worse past there, you know. Like
Yeah,
all the
no,
drugs
that's
out of
it.
your system, and
That's
you're
like
just kind of like, at a
It actually
baseline now.
It actually gets better, believe it or not. Like, cause I said I did like 10, 11 months off, right? So after 6 weeks, my strength went like this, boom. And then I like looked super soft. And then after like another 3 weeks, I started trending up in strength. I ended up I ended up matching my strongest ever on TRT. I don't believe, besides Anadrol and Halo and stuff like that, this is gonna sound crazy or silly. I don't think steroids actually makes you strong. Not even close to as much as you think. It can add a percentage. Like let's say what a lot of powerlifters do, right? Some of the top guys who have to make weight, they'll wait till that last week, literally like 1 week out or 2 weeks out. Then they'll add trend and halo, right? And what happens is whatever you already have strength wise, it'll give you like 10%. But it doesn't continue to give you that percentage. Once you get on Anadrol, that percentage you get, it doesn't continue to give you that percent every week. At that point, you're just building your own strength. So that 10% is a one-time deal. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you're not as strong as you think. So when I come off and I drop that 10%, like I said, like 5, 6 weeks, I drop that 10%. Then you start building your own strength like you was gonna do anyways. So if it's long enough and you have enough time to get strong, you end up getting right back to where you were supposed to be. Now my body was heavier. I was still like 280. So me being 280, I don't think I would have been 280 if I never took steroids. But just having that body weight was why I was strong, right? So sometimes maybe we get stronger because we're heavier and we assume that these drugs make you so much stronger. But I don't think it really makes you as strong. Sometimes I get weaker You ever hopped on a cycle and your strength goes down? That happens to me sometimes. Has that ever happened to
That's
y'all?
never
I'm
happened to
running more
me.
than I need. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
that
think
happens to me.
it's a lot more noticeable when you're like early on in your career and you haven't like, I mean, I won't speak for Joe and Zay because obviously they've used less drugs than me and Beatty, but like, you know, if you've used enough stuff for enough time, it's like it's not as noticeable eventually. Like when
Exactly my
Zay
point.
does his first fucking off season and he's eating in a surplus and using anabolics for like the first
He's gonna
time
blow
ever,
up.
he's gonna get really strong. So he's gonna like come back and be like, "What the fuck are you talking about, Beatty?" I
Yeah,
think it's
yeah,
just
no, for
so
sure.
far back in our memory now that you know it's
We
Yeah.
were kind of talking about this earlier, matey.
Mhm,
You asked me about my strength, like how it's really shot up, right?
mhm,
So this is the first time. So for USA's, I was running 1,000 milligram test, and I went to 1,200 for this off-season push,
mhm.
and I have noticed a pretty significant difference, like in how
Mm.
I like. It's not necessarily like 4 plates is 4 plates, but the way I can handle that 4 plates on a press or something just feels different. It's almost like I'm
Boom.
more in control of it. I don't know if it's like an aggression factor that the extra test applies to my body, but
Mhm.
there's definitely something there.
I
Like
feel like Joe
Okay,
is a
very
high
noticeable.
test guy. Like Joe could run like 2 grams of test and feel totally cool and
yeah.
like just be super strong and huge.
Well,
I do better with less compounds. So like if you give
yeah,
me
me too.
minimal
I like that.
compounds but higher dosages, I'm a fucking animal. But if
two
you
grams
give
of
me
test,
multiple
let's see it.
compounds with
Mhm.
moderate dosages, I do worse.
Me too, yeah. But you said something that was perfect, right? So I said that year, which was 2019, um, um, and I said I was on TRT. Well, no, but I'm lying. I was on TRT for like out of that 10, 11 months. I was on TRT for maybe like 3, 4 months. I actually came completely off most of it, you know. So what happened was that even when I got to my strongest, my fake natty strongest, it was still harder. So like let's say I literally got up to 6 1/4 squats without anything, right? To think about that. And then if you see me do it, it maybe it looks the same, I don't know, but it felt way heavier, but I still could do it. So it's like when I hopped on and I was doing the same weight, even if I got the same reps, it was like it felt like my body can handle it. It felt so much easier on my
Yeah,
body. Whereas when I
yeah,
did it without the drugs, everything felt like really like it felt scary first of all, and then everything was like super sore, super fucked up, and it took a way bigger toll on me to the point that I had to cut my volume. I think I was training like 4 days a week, you know, just to be able to recover. So like natural, okay, here's the easy way to look at it. Look at the top natural bodybuilder and the top gear bodybuilder. It's night and day. It's not even close. It's not even the same stratosphere. Now, the overall highest total ever in powerlifting history to date was done drug tested. Whether or not he's natural, he wasn't on drugs when he hit the lift. And they actually tested him, I think, every month for like a year. So whether he was, I'm not saying he's a lifetime natural or not, but it's basically a pretty fat guy who's like 350 and he's drug tested regularly. So like I said, if he is on drugs, it's very little, maybe months before, but he has the best overall total. Now, just look at the natural federations and the gear federation powerlifting. The lift up is it's the same. It's literally the same lifts to the point that the natural guys are breaking the other guys' records. So that tells you strength isn't a drug thing at all. Everybody thinks it is. Strength is not a drug thing. There's natty guys at Zoo Culture who lift more weights than me. Natty, and I
well,
know they're natty. I mean,
that's the difference though between natural and enhanced. Remember, I've
exactly.
done both. I do the natural for longer than I have been enhanced.
Mhm.
And all my clients that want to stay natural, I tell them all they have is food and strength. Like your
Mhm.
body cannot handle a fuck ton of volume when you're natural. You won't
No,
recover.
no,
So you have to be very
no.
strategic with your sets and your reps and with your ability to recover. Like that number on the bar has to go up. That's your only indicator as a natural that you're actually putting on some form of muscle. Like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
won't recover. You can't blast volume and reps and take to failure sets and stuff and expect
yeah.
to grow that way. So I'll see young guys lifting all slow and super like cautious and just really do 3 drop sets starting with a fucking plate. Like I'm like, nah, dude, like you will get nothing. Naturals can't do that.
You can't rely on blood volume and pump as a natural.
So when you see a naturally strong person, it's because they have to be strong to put on a certain level of muscle mass naturally. You have to. Like Michael Hearn, I'm not saying he's natural, but the way he trains like a natural person.
He does.
He really does. He relies on power because that's the only thing he can do.
Exactly. So he still has to, right? I don't think we believe Mike is natty, but we all can agree he's probably on like at most TRT with like these mini cycles. Because the man is in his late 50s. There's zero chance that he's
zero chance. I'm not telling anybody that don't
no. But I'm saying the other side, there's zero chance that he's also been blasting boatloads of gear this whole time, because that's what the pro bodybuilders do, and none of them look like Mike O'Hearn at 58 or whatever he is, right? Because that's not how it works. You don't get to abuse your body for 60 years and look like Mike O'Hearn. So he was probably natty until like, I don't know, like mid 30s is when he kind of like changed a little bit, and then he did maybe TRT with mini cycles and peptides and growth and shit like that.
I truly believe that.
Yeah,
I believe he was natural a lot of his life, and that's why he trained that way. And he just stuck to it. Kind of like I told you, I train the same way. I do a little extra now, but he trains naturally, like he's a natural guy, but he's not.
Exactly.
I don't believe he is at all.
Because he still can't rely. He can't rely on drugs, because his drugs, he chooses at least to limit his drugs, right? Because he wants the longevity, he wants to look good and be healthy. So he's not gonna say, I want to get stronger, let me pop 3 anadrols. He's just gonna, do whatever he's been doing, whatever that may be, Since we're on the natty topic, I saw a video that Greg Doucette made, right? Let me see if I can pull this up.
That should be good.
Hey, I just realized I said I was natural for 12 years, right? I'm not saying I started cycling when I was fucking 12. I was natural for 26 years.
That's hilarious. Yeah, somebody's gonna say Joe started at 12.
Yeah, bro. I was like, man, it's only gonna be some stupid shit.
So he was talking about, I think I pulled him up. He was talking about Mark Sulek, which is Sam Sulek's, I'm assuming, little brother. Physically little brother. I don't know if he's actually younger than him, but I wasn't aware that he had started a YouTube, and he looks literally like this guy's son. He looks exactly like him.
That's fucking funny, bro.
That's crazy, right? What the fuck is that?
Hey, they did the fucking Christmas hats. We didn't do the
are they twins? I don't know them well enough. Are they twins or that his little brother? I don't know, but they look like identical twins at this point.
I believe it's little brother.
So Greg wasn't picking a side. He was just talking about. Can I play with volume? Will I get copyrighted if I play the volume?
Yeah, probably.
Right, probably. I believe you do.
I'm gonna play like a couple seconds because he sounds just like him, which is crazy. Can you guys hear?
No.
Oh no. Well, never mind. But my point being is that
he's doing the same thing.
Yeah, basically. But in the comments, right, you see a lot of people saying, "Wow, I respect him so much more because he has to work harder because he's natural."
Well, that's such bullshit, bro. Dude, bro. I've told every person based on my own experience, like enhanced is so much harder because you can recover quicker and get to where you want to be quicker. You have to push yourself to limits that naturals will never even touch. No, it's so hard to keep progressing,
bro. When you increase your recovery tenfold, what does that mean? That means you can train more frequent, you can train with more volume, you can train with more weight. That's literally training harder in every aspect. So,
and because of the rapid growth, you have to eat even more food.
Exactly. So taking steroids allows you to work harder. Now, whether you choose to work harder or not, that's what's up to you. That's why a lot of people on steroids look like average Joes, right? But it gives you the ability to be able to train way harder. Like I just said, when I came off gear, I had to back my volume way down. I had to back my frequency way down. So I trained less hard. I didn't train harder because I was off gear. You have to train less hard because you can't recover from train. If you guys try to train the same right now on no gear, you couldn't, because you would actually, if anything, you might regress, because you can't train that hard and expect to recover. So it's the complete opposite. Being natty doesn't allow you to train harder because you're natty. That doesn't make any sense. You actually can train way harder on steroids. It doesn't make it easier. It allows you to train harder. So it's like, that's silly. And then as far as respect, right? Do they really respect it more? Like if Sam and his brother were walking down the street, are people gonna walk past Sam and stop marking, be like, yo, let me get a picture with you because you're natty? Or are they gonna be like, get out the fucking way, I want to take a picture with Sam? Like, let's be real, they don't actually respect him more. It's just some people say because it makes them feel good. I don't fucking know. You know what I'm saying? And then watching this video, does this look like he's training harder than Sam? No offense. I'm sure Mark is a great guy. I don't mean it in a bad way, but watching this leg press, he's doing a Life Fitness machine leg press. Does this look harder than Sam's leg days to you?
I mean, he's a golfer, dude. He doesn't really know what he's doing yet.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like automatically, because he's natty, oh, he works harder than Sam. It's like that's the biggest nonsense I've ever heard in my life. It's irrelevant. It's like, do you work hard or not? It's not left up to what you're on. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I thought that was an interesting take.
Yeah, people are just
like a natty. Mm-hmm.
ignorant.
I kind of wish that he was like full blown into bodybuilding, because I would be interested to see how he could look having what I would assume would be similar genetics and not being on gear. I think if he did exactly what Sam did, I think he would look a lot better than most people think. I think most people wouldn't even believe he was natural if he did, because I'm assuming Sam has good genetics from what it looks like, So
have you guys ever seen my sister?
No.
My sister, she decided like not to compete, but I dieted her down and built her up over a 2-year span, and she's 100. She at that time was 100% completely natural, and I couldn't believe what her physique looked like. I was like, holy shit, like it's in the gene pool, like. But I like my younger brother doesn't have the same look.
Just imagining Joe's sister looking exactly like Joe, but
go to my page. Go to my page. Go to my
It's a weird thought.
Let me see. Is she on your page?
I believe I have a post about my client somewhere on there.
Okay.
We'll go down. It's going to be a little bit. Go down a little bit. Slow down a bit.
More.
Down. Pull up. Go up.
Okay.
You're way too far. So
I'm getting there. I'm getting warm.
Hold on, right there. See that?
Okay.
That with the letters.
This one.
It's that one.
Okay. Let me see.
So go. Oh, that one. Back.
Oh, I was about to say.
That's my girl.
I didn't know that. I'm like, that's your sister?
Yeah, I grew her ass. That's my sister on that one.
Oh shit! Yeah, I mean, she looks like a competitor, basically.
Yeah, she. And that's after 2 years, and I taught her everything. Like she trained alongside me and stuff.
Yeah,
but yeah, she has some crazy genetics.
That's awesome, bro. No, she looks insane. What's
I was expecting Joe minus the beard. That's good.
Yeah,
I shit you not, bro. When she kind of looked like she has the same exact back as me.
Oh wow,
like the same back, like the low lats and everything. It's pretty funny.
What's
the only interesting thing is she's quad dominant, so her hammies and glutes slack where mine are like better.
Yeah. What's her IG?
She actually doesn't have. She has an IG, but it's she doesn't have hardly anything on there about her fitness stuff.
I'm just messing with you, bro. Let me see what else I got. All right. You guys, me and Joe was on a little bit before y'all. You guys want to go into questions?
It's funny you mentioned that. Me and my mom, we have the same calves, bro. My
Oh
mom hates
shit!
her calves.
Bro,
She
for
hates
real,
her
right?
calves. Yeah, she's like really embarrassed how big they are, you know? So she tries to cover them up all the time. I'm like, Mom,
me,
these are the best fucking calves in the world. What the fuck? She's like,
me,
Is there
yeah.
any like bodybuilding stuff to talk about before you do questions? Like, there's not really anything going
good
on right
question.
now.
Oh,
Let's check. Let's see.
people are saying C-Bump's done for sure.
I mean, more than likely, that's what it's looking like. If you read the writing, right? Like I think we talked about that on the last podcast. Yeah, we did, right? I
Yeah,
think we talked
yeah,
about
but
that.
I think it's becoming more and more prevalent now. Like people are talking about it and saying
Seems
like
like
they
it.
like some of the shit he's saying, and then the interviews that he's been doing. Like,
Yeah, like these are not interviews he would have been doing if. Oh, I, I know one that I wanted to have Martin on actually, but Martin's doing the Detroit Pro, right?
oh, that too. I forgot about that.
But he didn't get invited to the Arnold. I felt like he should have, bro. He barely lost to Andrew
But do you think it's
at
because
that
of the
show.
statements he was making when he lost the show?
No, no. It's just because he
Oh,
hasn't competed in a while.
I
Um,
think
okay.
I think because he hadn't competed 2023 and then he hadn't won a show, right? So
yeah,
even like, you know, like Antoine, right? Antoine has won a couple shows. I don't believe that Antoine can beat Martin. Excuse me. I don't believe that any of us believe that Antoine can beat Martin Fitzwater, but he still has, you know, two show wins, right? But when it comes to invites, I don't think it should be about show wins because a lot of people have won shows that Martin is a lot better bodybuilder than, right? So you can't just say, well, you won a show, you're invited. Martin, you're not invited, you haven't won a show. Whereas we all know Martin is going to place ahead of whatever placed ahead of, you know, quite a few people. So I thought he should have got invited, but I'm not motherfucking Arnold. So it don't matter what I think. But yeah,
You think
Detroit Pro.
is
Huh?
Martin a cool guy? I've never really.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Really nice guy, yeah.
Really nice guy. I think it was only me and Zayd when he was on, right? I think it was
Mhm.
Oh,
only
you
us.
did do a podcast with him, huh? That's
Yeah.
right.
I want to have him on with like more like a bigger crew as well. But did anybody else confirm? Let me see. It would
Is
be on
Hadi
Fuad's post.
confirmed?
Huh?
Is Hadi
Hadi?
confirmed or no? No.
I saw it for Andrew, but not Hadi yet.
Yeah, it just says pending. So Martin, is there anybody else that I don't know if there's anybody else for the Detroit Pro that said anything. Let me
That's
see.
the case. That's Martin's show.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
think
there's
James
nobody.
is doing Detroit.
Uh, I think Martin can beat James. Honestly,
James Hogshead.
Bless
yeah.
you,
Yeah,
man.
the last time they competed together, which might have been the last time Martin competed actually, was the
Mhm.
Arnold UK like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And Martin got
James,
third there, and James beat him, which
do
I'm not
do.
really sure if I agreed with. I mean, he was on home
Uh,
soil.
I
Um,
was getting at that. I don't. I didn't agree with that decision. I didn't
yeah,
agree. I would go as far as to say I thought Martin gave Andrew a run for his money to the point that I would have no issue Andrew winning that Texas Pro. Honestly, you know, he was okay. If we go by completeness, he was more complete. Andrew has better genetics for sure, as far as genetic shape, structure, muscle bellies. But who was the most filled out physique with the least gaps and the best conditioning by far was Martin, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
before 2020, you go back, you know, the whole since the beginning of bodybuilding, usually the guy with the least gaps, you know, with the most muscle and condition always wins. You know, Andrew the bigger guy, but is he more muscular? I don't know if he needs more muscle to fill out his physique than Martin does, basically. You know, but I do love Andrew's physique personally. But it's not about who you love; it's about who's peaked perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see if there's any other news before we get to questions. I haven't been keeping track.
Personally, I can understand why Martin got upset when he lost.
Yeah, yeah. He, I was gonna say something, but I'm not gonna say it.
Yeah,
John Collins.
I just think it was one of those Samson situations where his shape was just so nice that they
Yeah, I
decided to
guess
go.
so. But are we ever gonna see this guy on stage, or you think we're just gonna keep
Well,
seeing?
he lives in Brazil, so he got his surgery done. He's like he's gonna compete in Brazil. Should be in his backyard, you know.
I got to be honest, man. I got to be honest. I don't think we're gonna be as satisfied as we think we are. Um, I personally think most of his pictures are Photoshop. If I'm being completely honest, you know.
Really?
They might be flattering, but they're not Photoshop. He really does have that good of a front double.
Listen,
But like I don't think he'll look quite as good in a lineup because he's not like a tall guy. You know, he's got a couple of crazy shots and then some weaker ones, you know.
there's been screenshots of pictures that he's posted that have been very obviously Photoshop. All type of shit bending in the background and door frames and all that shit. Nick Strength from Power made a video about it. You know, I don't believe what we're seeing is accurate at all. If I'm being honest, you know, I think he has, like you said, he has a great front double for sure. There's no doubt about that. He has the small waist, he has huge quads, but this is the IFBB Pro League. I think you're gonna need more than a small waist and huge quads. I think you got to be complete. You know,
He's
like
super popular too, though. So
he is.
I mean,
Are,
that can't hurt.
are we talking about? If we're talking about top 5 in European shows, yes. If we're talking about winning like good shows, I don't think so. I mean, it's gonna be even like a not so huge European show. Like, is he gonna beat? Is he gonna beat guys like what's the guy's name? Like Tim Budishan and Theo, possibly, but I don't think he's gonna beat, you know, the like, because let's say you have top tier, and then what comes after that? Would you say he's not beating any top tier guy? Like him going to the Olympia, winning his first pro show, things like that. I don't think he's gonna be like a Crizzo or that kind of, you know, or Andrew Jack. I don't think he's gonna have that kind of, you know, path personally. But that's just my opinion. Do you guys think he's gonna be like a sensation right away?
Right?
Oh
I
no.
have to
I
see him
don't
next.
think so.
He's already a sensation, and I think that's what will help him get to the Olympia.
Okay.
You know,
okay. Well, what show did
I agree with you though. Like in terms of like who can he beat? You know, he posts his freaky shots and he doesn't post his weak ones. The last time he was on stage was when he turned pro, like a year ago now, or something like that. And I mean,
yeah, we can't go by like only your freaky shots, you know. And I think people get bamboozled by that. Like, but before Crizzo even did an IFBB show, everybody's like, he's gonna be top 5, future Mr. O. It's like, what are we talking about here? Like, he's gonna be Ian, he's gonna be all these guys. Like, how? Like, not yet. Maybe at some point, but just because somebody has big ass arms doesn't mean you're all of a sudden gonna just beat everybody, you know, out of nowhere. Like I think we gotta pace ourselves, you know what I'm saying? Because we got so numb to it because we had guys like Nick Walker and Andrew Jack who just shoot to the top. I think we start getting carried away. Anybody who comes out is just gonna beat everybody. These guys are tried and tested already. So it's hard to just beat all these top guys, you know. These are legit bodybuilders, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you do fair and square, you should definitely get the nod. You know, you shouldn't have to pay your dues or any of that nonsense. If you get it fair and square, you should get the nod for sure. But I think we get carried away because there's like this. If you never see somebody on stage, it's easy to say they're gonna win. It's like Kai can come back today and win the Olympia. No, he can't. But it's easy to say that because we don't actually know how he looks, you know. But let's see some.
He compares really good to John De La Rosa, and I think he beats him. So if John De La Rosa is a second place finisher, this guy has a chance.
Good veto.
Yeah.
I don't think he beats John. Like from the back, his back isn't. I don't think his back is close. I think he has the potential to be better than John for sure. I think he can beat him eventually. But like, let's say this year, can he beat John? He can. No, you're right. He can.
I don't think
But
John is really hard from the back. No offense to him. He
I
used
mean,
to have. I used to be way harder back in the day, but after his comeback, I didn't like his back shots too much. I think he
so
can expose them right there.
are you saying Good Vito is going to be harder than John from the back?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Well,
Yeah.
it's possible. It's possible. I wouldn't.
Don't
I
you
wouldn't
think
put
they
my.
compare? Don't you think they have similar structures and
I
similar
think.
physiques?
I think Good Vito has a better structure. Um, I just don't think he's that complete. Um, I think his arms look good in the front double. I think. I don't think his side poses look that good. I don't think he has a good enough back in comparison to John. But if he shredded enough, I think he could beat John. You know, just off of his structure. You know, for sure. I think he could beat John if shredded enough. Only thing is, will he be shredded? Is the only part that I guess we don't know until he steps up there. You know.
Didn't he
J-
have a
j-
problem with his knee after jumping? Something like that.
I think that's fine now.
yeah, I think that's fine. I know he had a hernia. I think that's fine now too. But the potential is there for sure. I think that he has a lot of potential. My thing is potential versus actually doing it. Sometimes it takes some time. It takes some time to reach your potential.
And he is Russian too. Like he moved to Brazil like a year or two ago, but he is Russian. And like
Mm-hmm.
from talking to Roman a bit and talking to David, like these European guys do not fuck around, and I wonder what kind of longevity he'll have. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what he's doing, right? But like sometimes these guys are like flashes in the pan, and then they have health issues and they're just gone, you know?
Yeah, you don't see them like
Because
this.
he's my age. He's the same age as me.
This to me, I don't believe is. I believe this is Photoshop. I don't believe his arms and lats are this big personally. You know, and then he has a perfectly black background. You know, I don't know if I think that's real, but we'll see on stage if it's all real or not. The legs are definitely that big, but I think that's enough for Vito. I think he has crazy potential though for sure. Let's
Yeah.
see what else we got.
Bonac.
Oh, Bonac.
That's
Oh,
the first
Bonac's.
picture we seen of him.
Bonac's doing one more show, right? He said this is his last dance. I
Is it?
mean, I believe so. I believe so. That's what it's been sounding like. He said he. I'm pretty sure he said he wants to do one more, but don't quote me. Let me see what he says here. Okay, this is just him.
Is
He's
he
not the
still
same.
Chad?
Huh?
Is he
Huh?
still with Chad?
I believe so. Yeah, that's the herd. So he's not the same Bonac he was at his prime, of course. But do you guys still believe he can win? Well, he can win a show, but do you guys think he can win a big show?
I bet he's been
Like,
natural for like 6 months in these pictures, and then
yeah,
he's
more
just gonna
likely.
mutate.
He's gonna change quite a bit.
Yeah.
I mean,
I get
shit.
everybody talking shit in the comments, man. It's just so crappy.
You know what's crazy? He actually, I believe he should have beat. I think everybody agreed he should have beat Brandon. That was what 2 years ago now. That was 22. The
Yeah.
Arnold, and that's only 2 years ago. I mean, I don't think he could fall off that much in 2 years. So if that was a couple years ago, that means he's still capable of winning. Not this year's Arnold, but he's still capable of winning big shows. I don't think he's done yet. Didn't
Honestly,
I
man,
see?
I think if he took a lot of time off, he might have a really good comeback because he is not injured, from what I know.
No,
So
yeah.
the
Only thing
quads
is
could come
that
back. Mm.
I don't believe he wants to take a like a year off or anything like that because I mean he did already, but I don't believe he plans to compete much longer. Hasn't he been on record saying that this is his last year, or am I making that up?
I thought he was retired already.
Okay, yes, yeah. So I think he said just one more. Okay, I think
He
that's
did a
everything.
post a little while ago about how he needed to take a break or walk away from it, and then
Yeah,
how people don't realize how hard life is and what you go through and all that stuff and how you feel. He needed it.
Damn, Stu's right. Hunter does got big ass arms, no?
Fucking told you.
Yeah, he does have big arms.
He got big, but his shoulder. I didn't think his shoulders were that big, but his shoulders are big too, no? Right?
It's all bigger in real life too.
I bet. You know what it is? You ever notice when you have really big triceps, it kind of makes your shoulder not appear as big as it really is because it just hangs off the. Yeah, because everybody used to say Levrone has big shoulders. I'm like, does he? Because his tricep is so huge. But when you actually try to like isolate it, you know, it's pretty big. Like Phil, right? I think because Phil's triceps are so big, you're like, his shoulders is like is decent, but then you're like, his shoulders are pretty fucking big. It's just that tricep is so crazy, you know. But yeah, Hunter's a big guy though, right?
Yeah.
And this guy looks weird. I don't know what's up with this guy. I don't know why he's making
Ugly
a face.
bastard. Yeah.
Where's the ducky?
He's MIA. Hey, I got a dinosaur.
Oh,
yeah, no one? Okay.
Yeah.
yes.
You know what kind of dinosaur that is?
Looks like.
So I swear to God, this was an accident. I just grabbed a dinosaur when I was going through the checkout line because it looked cool. Yeah, apparently, it is a Nigersaurus, and that's how it's pronounced. Niger Saurus. I found that out this morning, which is a little awkward, but
let me see it. Let me see.
Yeah,
let me see
a cool dinosaur. What do you think?
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's get some questions.
From Nigeria.
Yeah, if a Nigerian dinosaur. This is a funny question because I know why they're asking it. What's more important, big legs or balanced legs?
Big arms.
Big arms.
I mean, it's hard to answer that because balance is always the goal. That's always the goal.
Yeah.
But if you have big legs, it can make you stand out. But are we trying to stand out or win? Right? Because Neckzilla, I mean, he didn't win the show, but he stood. I think Neckzilla stood out more than anybody in that lineup. He looked the craziest. He looked the freakiest. But he still lost to Samson and Crizzo, right? And Samson won off balance because if you look at Crizzo, it's like, oh wow, look at his arms and shoulders. What the fuck? You look at Neckzilla, look at his fucking calves and quads. What the fuck? And you look at Samson, you don't say what the fuck to anything in particular. You just say, that's a fucking nice physique to look at, right? So it's like the balanced physique wins shows, but a standout body part is cool, I guess. I don't know. It's cool to see. But if you want to win shows, I'll say balanced legs over
The only time
legs.
I think oversized legs looks good on anyone is a woman.
Yeah, for sure.
Honestly, like on a man, it looks off.
It can look. I still think it looks cool.
I would,
but
I wouldn't want that shit. If God asked me, Joe, I'm gonna give you one huge body part, what would it be? It'd be like my penis, not my legs.
The way I look at it is that would be a huge advantage. But see, it's easy for me to say this, but Zayd will probably say, no, I don't want to have genetic big legs. But like in my head, I feel like that would be better because I could recover so much better if I didn't have to train legs so hard. What if I was Neckzilla and I could just come and do a little bit of leg extensions and leave the gym? I would have so much more energy for cardio and back training and all that other shit. So I think there could be a lot of bonuses in genetically having big legs, but I'm just saying that because I don't have genetic big legs. So I'm sure somebody
big freaky arms are like a showy body part. So they are more valuable than other stuff. Like honestly, dude, Johnny Jackson wouldn't be Johnny Jackson without his arms and shoulders. You know, so that's a good example. But it's more valuable than freaky legs. You see a lot of show winners, the legs are okay, but the arms are crazy. You
Okay.
understand? Like they are
Yeah.
definitely more valuable than a big freaky calf.
Wh-
But
When you say when you
like
say
Nick Walker,
valuable,
bro, Nick Walker built a whole career on arms, and then he brought up the rest of his body back up. You know, like
hold on one
his
second. Hold on a
arms
second.
is why we know about with Nick Walker. You know,
Okay,
big
you
arms are
said
valuable.
you said Johnny Jackson. That's valuable, but Branch was beating other than as an amateur, Branch was beating Johnny every time by a mile. So is that valuable or did that just look cooler? I think Johnny's looked cooler than Branch, but is that valuable if he never beat Branch as a pro?
Look,
You
obviously,
see what I'm getting
balance
at?
is yeah, of course, yeah.
Mhm.
But I'm just saying, obviously, each show is fucking different, dude. But I'm just saying, overall, big arms will give you a nod versus like if you have freaky legs, but your arms are not good.
I think you're saying that because you have big legs, but then you're a pro and I'm not, and I have bigger
Bro,
arms.
I turned pro when I fixed my arms. I had big legs
Uh-huh.
since the day one, and I always
Well
lost,
then,
always lost.
but then that's balance because you have to bring up your arms, you know. So
Yeah, but
for
I
me,
lost to guys who had no balance, who had no legs. I lost
mhm.
to guys who had no calves. I had lost to guys who had no
Calves,
hamstring,
They don't judge
no
Calves,
calves.
calves,
Calves won't
to be
help you. Yeah,
clear.
you know,
I'm sorry, but they
Calves
do
won't
not
help you.
judge it.
But
Mhm.
I could say the same thing. I've lost to guys with way smaller arms and shoulders than me. So it goes both ways. So like we're gonna speak in circles because it's all valuable. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
besides calves isn't valuable. We know that. But like
yeah.
the argument you make, I make the same argument. Being a guy with big arms, that I lose to guys with bigger legs all the time. You know what I'm saying? So it's only gonna matter when my legs are bigger. And for you, your legs only mattered when your arms caught up. You know what I'm saying?
No offense. I think your issue was the conditioning, not the legs. Your
Okay.
conditioning needs to be better to win. So
Mhm.
you didn't lose to guys who have bigger legs than you. You lost to
Mhm.
more conditioned guys. If you
That's a good
match your
point.
conditioning with theirs, you will be a Mr. USA immediately. The
Do
size is
you
there, legs and upper body. You just need that crisp hardness that you're missing. Once you get that, you'll win 100%. That's what
do
bodybuilding is. That's why I was
yeah.
thinking Martin should have beaten Andrew at the Texas show because that look it cannot be like it's actually like I don't know. I guess you need to earn that look. You diet
Yeah,
hard
yeah.
enough for that look, and then you'll become a show winner.
Do
Well, it
do
used to be rewarded more, you know? It just doesn't
uh-huh.
Yes.
seem to be. I'd agree with Zay that generally arms are slightly more important because if your legs are like on par, like they're proportionate to you, but you have crazy arms, that'll put you a level above. But if you have like, decent arms but crazy big legs, then like it kind of throws off the proportions because it's like an upper lower thing, you know? Like it's
Mhm.
not, it kind of throws off how the eye sees it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with Stu. He worded it perfectly.
It's a
Okay,
showy
okay.
body part. It's a showy body part.
Yeah.
It's like
Did
find
you
me
guys
someone who has arms that are too big. Nobody ever says that.
did you guys see the you guys ever seen a picture of Leroni's first Olympia
No.
No.
against Dorian?
Oh,
I don't know what
maybe
year that I don't know what
like
year that was.
94 because he won nationals in 92, right?
So maybe 93 or 94,
I think it
one of
was
those years.
93 or 94. Yeah.
I think that was the only time I seen Leroni like truly peeled, right? Like shredded, actual shredded, right? And then he's like, why did I lose to Dorian, right? You know what I mean? Kevin Levrone had way better arms and shoulders, and his condition finally, at least that year, was very close to Dorian, and Dorian beat him, anyways. I thought Kevin at that point was still pretty balanced, but
I always
Dorian's.
felt Kevin lacked his back. So
Uh-huh.
you turn around, there's no way he was beating Dorian.
So how come his arms didn't put him over the top?
because he didn't have the back to complete it.
Yeah.
Like you have to have everything. It's just arms gives you a little bit of an edge. For example, if it was the same exact thing, you turned Dorian around and his back was on par with Kevin's, Kevin would have won.
Yeah, for sure. That year, not all the time, but that year in particular, if Kevin and Dorian had the same back, Kevin wins. Kevin wins, yeah. But like later down the line, Kevin's legs kind of came down and his condition kind of fell off. Not fell off, but his condition wasn't the same. So at that point, even if Kevin had a bigger back, I don't think he would have won. You know what I'm saying? Me and Ken talked about that with Paul Dillette. I think he said if Paul knew how to pose, he would have beat Dorian. But I thought Paul's back was still way too behind to beat Dorian.
Exactly.
Even if Paul was straight.
Dorian is more conditioned, I think, more than Kevin.
Yeah.
No, for sure. But I'm saying that particular year, it was close. It was very close. It wasn't like Dorian. It wasn't that evident that he was so much more peeled than him. Every other year, Dorian was just way more peeled than all these guys for sure. You know, I think here's the thing. I think what you gotta say, if everything is already there, right? Let's say everything is perfect, and then you have a little bit more arms, you look better. Yeah, that's what
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I'll say if everything, you know, it's like okay, that's Phil Heath. Phil Heath is perfect. He's a perfect bodybuilder. So him having like bigger arms than he even needs. He doesn't even need that. But him having that, I think, looks good on his physique. I think it makes his physique look even better. But that's because his back is perfect, his glutes are perfect, his hamstrings are perfect, his quads are perfect, right? But then if you take like a somebody who maybe doesn't have as good of the back or good of the legs, like Crizzo, right? That's why Crizzo is not going to be Mr. Olympia. That's why Crizzo is going to be Samson, because although his arms and shoulders are huge and ahead of everybody, he's still got some flaws, you know.
Well, I think the perfect example is Phil versus Kai.
Mm-hmm.
Kai's arms were weird as shit. They're like
it was weird.
Like, almost like Andrew Jack's arms, a little worse, I would say, the way they insert. But he had a crazy back, crazy legs, like crazy detail.
Crazy everything.
But it just looked, because Phil had those bulbous shoulders and crazy arms, every shot looked way better.
It did, yeah. If you like I've been around Kai in his prime, right? If you took a tape measure to his arm, it probably was close to Phil, if not the same. But visually, like you said, you didn't say small arms. You said like weird. The shape, like
super peaky.
Yeah, right.
Peaky.
But it was
sharp, like it's weird. Like
he had like short, peaky biceps, short, peaky triceps. The forearm, it wasn't even that the forearm was small. His forearm started here, right? It was like it was all arm, and the forearm started down here. So it was like it was so short that it just didn't look impressive. You know what I'm saying?
And then because he was crazy wide, his traps never popped like the mountaintops. They're more like this.
Yeah.
And so it threw off his back looks, or like the most muscular.
Look off. And now, when Kai reached his biggest, like all-time biggest, him standing next to anybody besides Phil, it looked like he had big arms and shoulders because he was so big. But once you put him next to it, like the fans that love Kai, they will look at him by himself. Oh, that's Mr. Olympia. Yeah, by himself. But when he stands next to Phil, he's not Mr. Olympia. I'm sorry. He just wasn't.
I never once saw him win. Like, well, he beat him once. He
at
beat
Arnold,
him one time at the Arnold, right?
And let's be real, that was debatable. That was debatable. Because if we're looking at quality, I mean, Kai was peeled at that Arnold though. But like if we had to choose a physique, which physique do you prefer? Which would you want to look like? I still would have picked Phil. If I was the judge, I would have picked Phil at that Arnold. I gotta be honest with you.
Okay, even like look, for example, like Ronnie Coleman, the debate of between Phil and Ronnie, right? Ronnie looked fucking crazy, but Phil's physique is honestly more appealing to look at.
I think so.
I just think it's a prettier physique.
Ronnie Ronnie had bigger arms. If you take it, like I said, if you take it to a tape measure,
yes.
But visually, no, hell no. Visually, I think the only person who appeared to have big arms in Phil was Rowley. That's probably the only person. you know. But Phil probably has. And when we say best arms, it's not only the size, it's the roundness, the insertions. You know what I'm saying? It's the whole nine. Nick Walker probably has bigger arms than Phil with a tape measure, but but Phil had better insertions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The way his tricep came down here. You know, so it's like one of the things. Like when people say Ronnie had some of the best arms, I'm sorry, I love Ronnie, but I don't think he had one of the best arms. I think he had big arms, but I don't think it was one of the best arms. I didn't like the insertions of his tricep was short, bicep. I don't know why I'm all of a sudden talking shit about people, but I think we
No,
went
we're
over
talking
there.
about how a physique appeals to you, right? So that's pretty much
Yeah,
what
yeah.
judges do. At that level, you're pretty much like, okay, all
Uh-huh.
these guys have it all, but
Yeah,
what do we see as the most appealing
yeah.
at a certain
We
point?
the question was legs, and we still went to arms. But okay, what?
But we
But
said like, no, big legs won't really like.
yeah, big
Nobody
legs or
talk about
balanced legs. I think balanced legs.
balance will
Balanced
always
legs.
be there.
I think so. All right.
Big legs.
But it gets you a little jealous when I'm in the gym with Zayd and he got on shorts with like ankle socks. I'm like, I can never pull that off. If I wear ankle socks, bro, I like a lollipop, bro. My calf like a lollipop. Like I can't I can't do that shit. So so it's still impressive to see Zayd walk around in short
You can
shorts.
hide your
and ankle
calves.
socks.
You can't hide your fucking arms forever,
No,
bro.
yeah, good
You know what
point.
I
Yeah,
mean?
good point. I'm sure Zayd thinks the same. He probably looks at my arm. He's like, "Fuck," you know. It's like
Exactly.
You always
it's
want
always
what you don't have, bro.
unless you're
Yeah.
Phil and he had big calves and big arms. That's impressive, you know.
It's the gift, bro. Seriously, the gift.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Let's say what works well for your weak body parts. Eh. Do you do any of you have a mobility or stretching routine?
No.
I'm
Bro,
just getting a
I
new
just
one,
have,
honestly. 10 minutes a day. That's it.
Man, I haven't stretched in a long time, man. I
my
don't
deep
even
tissue
know.
guy just asked me how often you stretch. I'm like, never. I
At one
stretch to the
point,
movements.
at one point I was like obsessed with like, yo, I want to hit a split because you know, like I usually post to R&B and I'm moving, so I'm like, yo, if I just hit that split and hit like the fucking boom, oh, that's gonna. And I started stretching, and I was like, bro, this is not happening. This split is not happening.
You think
But
for
but
me?
it, huh?
It
But
makes you
somebody told me
respect Andrew
it
much
does.
more. Much
But
more.
somebody told me that if you pay attention, the only person who was hitting a real split besides Andrew now was Flex. He was like, go look at Ronnie hit the split. Is he really hitting the split? And I watched it. I'm like, bro, he's on the knee. He was like on his knee and
He's
his
a lot
calf.
deeper
I'm
than
like,
me. Shit.
oh, exactly. That's my point. Don't get me wrong. I ain't saying I could do that shit. But you just have to get close. So now I'm like, oh, if you're big enough, you just have to get close. If Joe hit like a half split, everybody go like, oh shit, look at that shit. You know, you don't have to touch your ass to the floor. You know, if you're
I'll
like a
tear my
classic
ball
guy,
sack. I'll tear my
huh?
balls. Sure.
I think if you're like a classic guy, you got to go all the way down to the floor. But you know, if you're a big bodybuilder, if you just get close enough, they won't even notice it. They're gonna be like, 'cause once you get close, they're gonna be like, oh shit, there it goes, oh shit, and then you distract them with like the pose, and they're like, he hit that split. So you maybe one day I'll get close and then just play it off.
You
You
know what I
know.
mean?
No
That's all
way.
you, man.
Fuck that shit.
Bro, Nick Walker, right? He did that shit where he stretches one leg
Bro,
out,
it makes me
sits on his
nervous.
knee and goes back,
I
right?
get nervous.
Dog, I'm like, fuck, I will for sure like tear my quad tendon getting out of that pose. I don't know how
Yo,
he does it.
if I could find that video, I'll probably post it. You know that happened to Phil? Did you ever see Phil that guest posing when he went to hit the floor pose and he like tore or he strained something or something and he rolled
Oh,
over and fell over? He said,
Really?
and then let me see if I can find it. I don't want to do it right now. I'll do it later. But literally, it was in one of his DVDs I was watching, and he goes to guest pose. He goes to hit a ground pose, and he strains something, and he just rolls over, and everybody's like, "Oh shit!" And then he had to go backstage and then come back like a few minutes later, and then he finished his routine. But bro, that shit is dangerous, bro. Be careful. You know, when you're
It's an
dehydrated,
awkward movement. You don't train in that position, right? So
no,
to shift your
no.
weight into something your body doesn't know, it's weird.
You got to be careful. Like I do floor poses, but if you watch, I go down really slow, and I never like overstress like my adductors. It's always just going straight down. I'll face the side and do a lunge, and then go down to one knee, but really slow and controlled. Because it's slow R&B music, you don't notice how slow I'm moving. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you gotta use that to your advantage. You'll never see me just like, cause Nick kind of just drops down. That shit gets me nervous. I'm not gonna lie. You know.
Hey,
Right.
I have a question for you guys. When was the last time you guys arm wrestled? Like,
Oh,
Oh
in
yeah.
fuck
general?
no.
I don't do that shit.
Never.
I've seen too many
Never.
horror stories.
One
Bro,
time,
so fucking Paul tore something in his shoulder on Saturday, arm wrestling some guy at a party.
God damn it.
No.
And it's not major, but there's a reason I've been training by myself. Yeah, Paul did
Shit.
something in his right shoulder, like right here.
Yeah. Cause
And
boy,
he said he arm wrestled the guy the 2 rounds. First round he was fine. The second round he felt something pop. Like he said,
holy.
"Fuck!" Like so.
If you're a big guy, they're always gonna ask you, and it always, because you're big, they're gonna give it all they got.
Yeah.
So I had completely stopped arm wrestling. I don't know, since I was early 20s, but then I was in Mexico, for vacation, and this guy, it was at like a restaurant, and one of the waiters was like, "Hey, I want to arm wrestle you," and I was like, "Nah, I don't do that." But his friend had the phone. He wanted to film it. I was like, "You could take a picture though, like acting like we're about to arm wrestle. If that's cool with you." You say, "Oh yeah, that's fine." And then we go to take the picture. As soon as the guy picked up the phone, the guy goes like this, boom, and tries to take me down. I was so pissed, bro, because that's exactly how you fucking break something or tear a shoulder, bro. I was like, I almost fling this man across the room, but but so after that, I'm not even gonna do it for a picture. I'm sorry. We could just take a picture, but I'm not gonna even go assume the position at this point, because people don't realize because they look at like, you're a big guy, I can't hurt you, but it has nothing to do with being a big guy. That's why I am gonna get hurt, because I don't have the mobility. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
All
bro.
right.
It's a
Sucks
different
to
kind
hear,
of
bro.
like technique too. Like you're like some guys are actually really good at locking in like their
Yeah.
forearms or the wrist to elbow.
Uh-huh.
And you get the wrong guy, you're gonna like the jolts you, right? Because like you said, they're gonna try to beat you. You're a big
Yeah.
guy. They want to say they beat a 300-pound bodybuilder, so they're just
Exactly.
gonna fucking take you, and you try
And
to
fuck your
catch
shit
it,
up.
you're gonna fucking pop something.
You guys know Adam Silver? He's Larry's manager now. You know that guy, right?
Oh yeah, I've heard his name.
Yeah, but basically, he still does it. But back in New York, he used to have the strength net, and he would have people like he would pay me to like arm wrestle or whatever, or he would pay people. And what he would do is, if he knows you're a bodybuilder and you compete, he would say, "Yo, go about 60%." So when you see these, Larry, all of Larry's matches are real, obviously, because Larry is an arm wrestler. But even if Larry's about to arm, like I think Larry arm wrestled Big Ramy at one point, right? And then everybody went crazy. Why are you arm wrestling Big Ramy? And he was like, "Bro, it wasn't real. He was literally." But they know Big Ramy is a Mr. Olympia, so they didn't even let him do it at all. Adam told him, "No, we're not gonna actually do it. Just go like this for the video." They literally just went like this for the video, and everybody went crazy. So Adam is smart enough, and Larry is smart enough to know that if he has the bodybuilder, he won't let you actually do it. As Zoo, Adam wanted to arm wrestle me, and he told me, "Hey, just go 50%. Literally, we're just going like this. We're not actually." Don't do it. It's not worth it. I don't even think Larry's gonna arm wrestle now that he's trying to get his pro card, right? I don't think he should.
How did he
If
tear his
that bicep
It was
says again,
Huh?
if that
did he
bicep,
tear his
if that
bicep
bicep,
training?
Yeah, he thought his bicep doing strongman. He was shirtless.
Oh,
He was shirtless in the cold weather, and he went to do what's the stone called? The
Atlas
stones?
Stone.
Yeah, Atlas stones, and it was on. I don't remember if it was the first one or last one. It might have been the last one, knowing him, right? So that shit is so awkward. And once he went to pick it up, the shit went, and he knew it. It just snapped. It was cold. It just wasn't. So at that point, he was gung ho for strongman. But then when he talked to the guys, they're like, "Oh, that's common. That happens on a monthly basis." And then once you realize the injury rate he wasn't willing to do it anymore. He's like, what's the trade off here? First of all, you're already Larry Wills. You don't got to do shit. And second of all, if these guys are getting injured, look at Hathor Bjornsson. He's known as being one of the healthiest strongmen that had the least injuries. And he's been injured, how many times in the last fucking 3 years? A lot, you know? So it just wasn't worth it. So Larry just completely stopped strongman, you know what I'm saying? That guy is smart. He's not, he knows what he's doing. He knows what risks to take and what to not take, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to, you got to have a career, bro. But let's see here. Any stories of Lantis or Humalog or both? What's your guys' preference?
Totally different applications.
Yeah, it's not even the same category. If you said Humulin R or Humalog, that's something people maybe go back and forth between.
Humulin R is bullshit.
Like I don't like it.
I don't think anybody should be using that for bodybuilding purposes.
Well, usually the only coaches over the age of 50 are the only coaches that, not even, maybe 60. Because John and Reagan like Humulin R, but John was like 80. Do you even know John's age? He was like, I don't know how old he was. But yeah, let's start with Joe.
I like Humalog.
I mean, unless you have blood sugar issues, that's the only. Is there any other reason any of you would do Lantus unless you had just high resting blood sugars?
That's
really
why
the only
I
reason.
use it. Yeah, I mean,
That's really the
I've gone
only
up.
reason.
I think I was using earlier. I'm not using it anymore, but I was using 22 units in the morning, and it brought my fasted blood sugars down from like 105, 107 down to like the low 90s, and
Yeah,
there you go. And keep in mind, like, so you have to. It's kind of hard to distinguish, like, why is your blood sugar high? Is it high because you're eating a ton of food and you have growth hormone in, or is it high because you're eating a ton of food and your body can't produce enough natural insulin on its own, or is it high because your insulin resistance is going up? So, or excuse me, insulin sensitivity is going down. So, like, if you're getting really fat and sloppy and like your look is getting worse, then you're probably getting insulin resistant, and you probably shouldn't just throw in Lantus or Humalog or anything at that point, because they'll just make you even fatter,
exactly.
But if it's just like your pancreas can't produce enough insulin on its own to like shuttle all those nutrients that you're eating, then that's when it would be smart to use Lantus.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, like, it's a band-aid that's just going to make the problem even worse.
It's kind of perfect you said that, because that's exactly what I used to do, right? I was convinced that I was running high glucose levels just because of the amount of food I was eating at the time. But now I know it wasn't, because what would happen if I would run high fasted blood sugars and then I would hop on Lantus. Now in hindsight, I was just a fat fuck. That's literally it. To think about this, right? If I'm about 305 right now, and I'm not lean by any means, right? Look how fat I am at 305 now, and I've been I've been heavier than 305 3-4 years ago. That would tell you how fat I must have been. Think about that. 4 years of gains, and I'm less heavy than I was back then. That's pretty fucking fat. So now it's the opposite. My resting blood sugar is like 70. It's to the point now that my blood sugar drops after I have like a high carb meal. Like I'll feel hypo. Good. Yeah, that means your insulin, your pancreas is working, right? Because if it's bringing the blood sugar down, it's working. So
that happened to me the other day.
It's crazy.
We did legs, and I had zero appetite. Like, we're just throwing up kind of shit for like an hour, and by the time I got to my food, I started fucking shaking profusely and sweating like crazy. And there's AC in my room. I'm on the phone with my friend, and I'm like, yo, like, hold on. And I had a pack of cookies. It was this. Where I told you guys about 7-Eleven?
Yeah.
Bro, I shoved 3 cookies back to back, and it finally stopped.
Holy shit.
I was so
Yeah.
fucking scared. I was all by myself. I was like, something's gonna happen.
But that wasn't because of insulin, right? That was just from a like really hard workout, or did you use insulin before? Or-
I did use insulin before, but I had all my post stuff. Like I
Yeah.
had
So you have a
the
shake in there. Yeah.
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 So, but I didn't eat for like fuck, dude. I was so fucked up like 2.5 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
Mm.
started shaking like crazy, and like as I was eating, like so it was like too late kind of thing. I was like, holy
Yeah.
shit! But I had these backup cookies, baby.
Lifesavers.
They seriously saved my life, man. Holy shit! That scared the fuck out of me, though. I'm not gonna lie.
And so that if you had like an intra workout shake and then a post workout shake, and then you started to eat your meal, you probably had your insulin like 5 hours ago or something at that point, right? Like 4 or 5 hours ago.
Yeah, I think 3 hours. It was a 3 hour time frame, I think, because I had
Okay.
so I do 8 IU pre workout and
Okay.
10 IU post.
Oh, you do post. Okay. Then yeah,
Yeah,
that
so
would
it
have
was
played
the
into it too.
post.
I've only ever
Yeah.
done pre-workout, but I'll still get like I'll take it pre, have my intra shake with a ton of carbs and have my post shake with a ton of carbs in it. And 45, 50 minutes after my post-workout shake, if I haven't eaten yet at that point, I'll get a reactive hypo where like,
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
you dump a bunch of like high, high glycemic index carbs into your bloodstream. You get a huge insulin spike naturally. It's not from the pre-workout insulin, it's from like your pancreas. It shuttles all that stuff out, but like more than you actually put in. And then your blood
Mhm.
sugar's like down really low, and you're like, oh shit, I gotta eat.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened, bro. Out of nowhere. It was a
Yeah.
hard leg day too. I just
Mhm.
like it was one of those like nauseous leg days. And you're like, fuck, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna eat for a while, bro. Like I
Yeah.
tried, it wasn't happening. But then I finally felt like I could put the food down and keep it down. And I was like, nope.
The first time that happened to me, I thought it was like a what do you call it? When what do you call it when like okay, let's say like you smoke weed every night at 10 o'clock, right? Every single night. And then for like 3 years straight. And then one night you're like, I'm not gonna smoke today. And then 10 o'clock hits and then you feel like you're high, even though you didn't smoke. What would you call that?
Is that true?
Delusional.
It's like Pavlovian.
It's like
Placebo?
placebo.
Is that
Placebo.
placebo?
Huh.
No,
Not exactly, but
no,
kind of.
it would be a Pavlovian response because you've been programmed in pattern to
Okay,
like,
well, there you go. So the first time, so okay, let's say I was on like 15 IU of insulin pre workout, and I would take it, and I would go train. Have my, I would take it with my pre workout meal, have my intro, have my post, and then I would go hypo. I'm like, what the fuck? That's impossible. That was like hours ago. It shouldn't happen. Let me come off the insulin. Maybe I'm just something's wrong. I'm too sensitive to it. And I came off the insulin. Then it happened again. I'm like, what the fuck? Oh shit. Am I having a placebo or Pavlovian effect? What's going on? And then I had to learn that it can happen just from you having like a if you have Carbolin with your shake or whatever I was having at the time, Gatorade with my intro workout, just your own body regulating your blood sugar, it can actually end up bringing you low anyways. So
yeah.
it's good to be smart sometimes in the sport. You know what I'm saying? All right. Any stories of injections gone wrong, infections, really bad PIP, felt terrible. Let's
I've had two infections in my life, and they've both been in my left quad. So never doing that. I don't hit quads at all anymore. It's just bad luck. Besides that, like I remember, I don't know if you guys remember any of this shit. Like a year or two ago, there were a bunch of raws coming out of China that
Mhm.
were like they had this, I think it was carboxylic acid in it, which is like a byproduct of the way that they process the cholesterol molecules into testosterone. It was testanenthate, and that's what it was in. And it was like coming out of China for like a year or two, and all of the batches of stuff that I was getting, like the drug was real. Like people were testing the stuff, purity testing it and whatever, but it would just like leave like crazy inflammation and like swelling, and it was super painful. So I had to throw a bunch of shit out when that happened like multiple times, which is a real pain in the ass.
Did you like filter it properly? It didn't have anything to do with that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, I mean, oh yeah, yeah. I mean, next question, the Joe.
um, I never had an infection, but well, like I pinned the very first time I ever pinned my shoulder, my left shoulder. It swelled up pretty fucking like it was like hot to the touch, like pink, and like my fucking tricep and shoulder separation was completely gone. And
Oh,
if
one
I
of those.
pressed it, it would sink in a little bit, like it was
Ooh.
super fucking swollen. And I don't know what the fuck that was about, but it only happened to me. It happened to me twice, here and here.
How,
That'll
how
still
did you get rid
happen to
of
me
it?
sometimes.
Did you do anything about it, or you kind of let it
No,
run its
I
course?
iced it. I iced it, but it went away. It took about like almost like five. I think I would say 5 to 6 days to go back to normal. And it
Mm.
was like hot as fuck, like to the touch. Like holy shit, like it was warm.
Yeah, it gets warm as fuck.
It was my
Uh,
very first cycle ever.
damn, man, that's a bad experience. All
Yeah,
right,
but I didn't give a fuck. I was like, yeah, it's part of the game.
keep going.
Fuck it.
You woke up the next day and went right into that same shoulder.
Now what's the other one? I'm like, well, maybe this one's better. Oh nope.
Let's go,
So,
Zayn. You had any fucked up
um,
experience?
no infections, but just like Stu, I tried my quad one time and I didn't go on the side. This was when I was 20 years old. I went straight through like this.
Holy
Whoa.
shit.
Oh, Jesus
in
Christ.
in the middle like this, bro. My leg was dysfunctional for a solid 10 days. I could not have
Damn.
bent the whole fucking leg. I actually got crutches that time because it was
Holy
that bad.
shit.
Mhm.
Zayd uses
Eh,
high quality. Zayd uses high quality stuff though. He doesn't use like raws from China
yeah.
and shit like that. No,
At 20 I was using UGL shit, brother.
oh, okay,
And
okay.
yeah, I've done it all. It's just it wasn't the oil, it was the placement.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
You put it into like
And
your rec fem, like the middle of your quad.
like
Oh my
literally
God,
straight down.
man.
Bro, that
Straight
is that
down.
is that
Yeah.
is wild.
I've never been that dumb. That's holy shit.
And
You don't know any
so
better
never
at that
again.
point. You don't
Never
know any
again.
better.
No.
When I was maybe I was bouncing at the time, so maybe 21-ish, 21, 22-ish. I came across this, I don't know who gave me or if I found it myself. Came across this source. It was called Hulk Gear. You guys ever saw that one?
Sounds legitimate.
I
Sound
think I've heard of that
so it sounds legit. And then it came in like these bright green bottles or some shit like that.
actually.
And I'm looking at the prices. I'm like, oh shit. It was like $25 for a bottle of test. I'm like, those are reasonable prices. That's what I'm talking. You talking my language now. So of course I went and copped a bunch, and then I went into my shoulders. I like to split. Let's say if I have 2 cc's, I like to go. I'm not recommending this, but I like to fill it up 2 cc's, and I'll go one here, pull it out, go in the other one, finish the one.
I've
It's
done
not
that.
the most it's not the most sanitary shit to do. So I ain't saying nobody should do it, but it's my own body. I never had an issue with it. Okay. But like Joe's, it's been a few times where I would get like a slight inflammation, like a slight infection where it'll inflame, maybe seep down, fuck up that separation for a while. And then, 5 days is back to normal. No problem.
Yeah.
Your body can fight off a certain amount of infection, no problem. So I'll go with the whole gear. Looks a little funky. Shoot it in there. Okay. A couple of
Wait,
days.
was the oil actually green?
No, no, the actual oil.
Oh,
It was just a
okay,
bottle
good.
of the green.
Okay, good.
So I go in there, and it gets a little warm to the touch, a little inflamed. I'm like, not a big deal. It's probably just a slight infection. I did just use the same syringe on both sides, so no big deal. A couple of days later, it continues. This swelling is still there, but now it's moving down. But as it's moving down, this swelling is still here. It's just also swollen all the way down here. I say, I'll give it a couple more days. This should go down. I wake up on the next day. This is maybe like 3 or 4 days later, and this shit is down here. So like halfway my forearm is swollen. So I'm at work bouncing and shit, and one of the bouncers looked at me. He's like, "Well, what's up with your arm?" I said, "Oh, I got into a little action or something." He said, "Bro, did you get bad gear?" I said, "Oh shit, yeah. How you know that?" He was like, "Happened to me before." He was like, "Yo, go to ER and get some antibiotics, preferably injectable." I said, "Really? That serious?" So I'm bouncing that night. By the end of the night, I'm like, should I go? I look at my arm, and now it's down to like almost my hands. So my complete arm
Oh,
here. So imagine what you felt, Joe. That hot, warm feeling. Imagine that spreading all the way down to here.
I'd be
Now,
scared as fuck, bro.
but that tells you where my brain was at 22. I actually wasn't that scared. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
I just asked my KC, like, yo,
Yeah,
dog, is this normal? He's like, it happens sometimes. He's
you
like, it
got you good
happens,
to
but
go.
he saw that it stops like right here, I guess.
Yeah. So,
So as
if
long as it
you
doesn't go any farther.
if you show KC and the shit was down to your wrist with it, he would have been like, "Bro, Abby, cut that shit off. Cut your arm off before save your losses." But
It's always kind of
so
hard to tell, like, if it's just like an inflamed shot from like whatever chemicals are in there that they use,
exactly.
or if it's an actual infection. Because
Hmm.
I mean, if it's just inflamed and angry because like I don't know, you hit a bad spot or there's some solvent in there or whatever, like taking
You'll be fine.
antibiotics, like yeah, you just have to wait. But
Yeah.
you don't know whether it's red and hot because it's infected or what. So
No.
like it's good to
When you
have antibiotics on hand like all the time
exactly.
I
to remember this
knew it
shit.
was infected slightly based on how it felt to touch. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when you can
because
tell.
it was almost like
Plus,
a slight hardness to it when I touched
yeah,
it.
you get like that pus action going. But okay, if you have a bad shot, you might mistake it for a possible infection. But if you 100% have an infection, you know it's infection. You'll
Yeah.
be able to tell, right?
Yeah.
So okay, so end of the night is down to the wrist now with it. I go straight to ER. Back then I was just honest. I just told him exactly what happened after I did this. Once I said, yeah, I shot testosterone in there. It was like an Asian nurse. Once I said that, she said 1 second, and she went bounced, and then she went and got this other lady, and the other lady bought a pamphlet with her about steroids, and she like, I want you to read through this. I was like, yeah, can I get some help first before I read through it? She said, no, read through it first. So I sit there and I put like a LeBron. You know how LeBron has the books upside down and he's like this. That's what I
Yeah.
did. I sat there like this. Okay, got you. I'm not gonna do it anymore. Now can you fucking help me? And then they start they give me antibiotics. Send me home. I said okay, cool. They said it should get better. Took the antibiotics. Woke up the next day. Now that shit down in my hands. Now I'm like this. So of course I rushed back into the hospital, and then now they admit me and put me under like IV antibiotics. So now I'm here, at the time I was like I was at 22. I was staying with my mom, and she works at nights, so she's usually sleeping like early on and whatever cases. So now she's like, "Damn, I haven't seen my son for some time now." So she called me, "Everything okay?" And I tell her the whole thing. I'm in the hospital, whatnot. And then it took maybe like I don't know, maybe half of the day, maybe by like 6 p.m. until I was it was finally starting to clear up. It was starting to move, like dissipate, and then they let me go. But they wanted to keep me like another day. I just didn't want to stay another day. And then they gave me antibiotics to take. Since then, I always have like an arsenal of antibiotics stashed, no, just in case, because I'm not going to go to the hospital and ask them for
Do
antibiotics.
you guys parents know that you take gear?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but we don't have like the conversation about it. I never
Yeah,
had a conversation.
my mom pinned my last week.
Whoa.
That's real
Is she a
Yeah,
love.
my mom
nurse?
like right here.
My mom
That
thinks I'm natural, bro.
oh
That's
yeah.
why I asked. I was like,
Well,
because some people are really oblivious to it, like they really, really are. And
yeah.
then, but I remember so just so I could just fucking live my life
Mhm.
after my first show, literally the same day it ended. All right, guys, I took second place. I'm all natural. I lost to a guy that was enhanced. I was like, I'm gonna step it up. They're
Yeah.
like, what do you mean? I'm like, I'm gonna do whatever it takes. That's what I fucking need.
I had like
Shit.
the same conversation with my first show with my parents.
Yeah, I
The
swear. Yeah, I was straight up about it. I'm like, look, you guys enjoyed that show. You thought I did well. Now, imagine I put
Buckle up, folks.
some fucking gear in me, and then I won the
yeah.
California. I was like, I told you, mom.
My my dad never said a word. I mean, common sense. I would assume, he knows, but he's never even made a comment about anything like that. My mom, on the other hand, when I was living with her, one time she was cleaning, and then I saw my needles had moved, and I was like, oh, so she saw the needles, but she didn't say anything. And then maybe a few months later, she sends me like a WhatsApp about like this guy talking about steroids. He was like, "Yeah, I took steroids for 5 years, and I have a butt. I lost a piece of my ass because the infection." And I was like, "Oh," so she put two and two together. So now now she started sending me like videos about why not to do steroids, but she never said a word. Never, she see me never said a word about it, you know. But
Yeah.
she didn't want to
That's a
confront
cool
it because
mom.
it's
Yeah.
like I think she understands like we're adults. She knows that there's no point in her telling me you should stop, but she maybe wants me to see the potential risks. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah,
listen,
every time one of these bodybuilders dies, she always
mhm,
like some article pops up and she reads the news way too much. She sends it to me like, "Did you hear about this? How much longer are you
yeah,
going to be doing this for?" I just
yeah,
get
yeah.
worried, like, "Yes, mom, we've done this before."
Yeah.
That's good though. That's good parenting. Like,
Yeah, man, it's their job.
yeah, yeah. Like you don't want to make somebody feel bad and be like, hey, you need to stop everything and make it like that kind of thing. But you just showing you care. I think that's great because I've done it with my friend. I've done it with Eric. Not Janicki, the other one, so Konevsky,
Yes.
my neighbor. So I've done it. Like it's because you care. So you're like, hey man, I know you can afford it and you love how it feels and all this stuff, but maybe maybe you should consider maybe not going so crazy on it. You know what I'm saying? So
It's dope
that's
though, bro. Like my mom, like because of like the shows I've won and how I look and stuff, and the progression she's seen in such a short time, she'll send me to like our family, like pictures of me to our family members, to like people that she runs into, like her little friends and stuff. Oh, look at my
Mhm.
son! Look at my son! She'll drop to
Yeah.
another one. It's just me. So I'm
That's what
proud of her.
parents do. Like parents, like kids is how like they brag, right? That's their bragging rights. Look at my son. My son is bigger than your son. My son is
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
My son. That's it. Even if like parents are the only ones that they'll talk shit in your face, but they'll only talk good about you in public. Whereas sometimes friends and acquaintances they might say to you at the gym, "Hey, hi, how you doing?" And then behind your back they're like, "Yeah, that guy is on 10 IUs at GH. They call him 10 IU Stu.
What,
Yeah, that's why he's big." So
and I use
what a loser.
whereas parents do the opposite. Parents would be like, "Are you sure you should be doing 10 IUs?" But to their friends, they'll be like, "Look at my son. Look how big he is.
He's on
You
10
like,
IUs.
yeah, yeah. You don't 10 IUs. Yeah, check him out."
yeah,
So that to me is like a like true love, or like even a true friend. Like they'll defend you, right? You
yeah.
know. All right. Any stories of tips when you started regurgitating? Holy shit! I don't know if this happened to you guys, but tips for when you start regurgitating, puking, meals in off season. I ain't throw up before. I don't think
Yeah,
so.
I've never.
I gag all fucking day, but
That's what she
I
said.
no homo. But I keep it down. I haven't thrown up other than that time I was sick as fuck. But that was
Yeah,
it.
I mean, if
that
you're
happened.
gagging, like I just finished a meal here. I don't know if you guys saw, but I was like gagging every couple of bites because it's gross. Like I don't want to
Hmm.
eat. But like
Yeah.
if you're like if you get a meal down and then it starts coming up like a minute or two later, like that means that you're
They're
not
the issue.
digesting. Yeah, and like
100%.
you're piling up meals on top of themselves in your stomach, and you've got like a mobility issue. So like you need to speed things up. You need to use like enzymes, apple cider vinegar, betaine, and then have enough fiber in there to actually keep shit moving.
Hmm.
Because if you get plugged
Konevsky.
up, yeah,
So when I was training with Konevsky back in the days, I've seen him throw up mid squat, like literally at the bottom. Blah. throw up, right? And now, now, like you said, he had like really bad like acid reflux. I don't know if he ever saw anybody for it, but we would be like in a car, literally just driving, and he'd be like this, like every like 10 minutes, and I'm like, yo, you want a bag or something? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, granted, he was eating a shit ton of food. I don't know, maybe 10,000. I think he was up to 10,000 calories every day, but he had an underlying issue. Like, the issue wasn't necessarily just the amount of food, but he couldn't have been digesting it. You know, he also had really bad sleep apnea. So, like, I felt like his esophagus would get damaged. Like, he would be like, when he got bigger, he would get like a hoarse voice. Like, literally, like I would see him, hey, what's up? Oh, what's up? What's up? And I'm like,
You
oh, you
guys,
good?
you guys know Brett Welkin. You know, he had to pull out of the
Yeah.
Olympic because he was having stomach issues. I know he's had acid reflux really bad for a long time, and like, listen to that guy's voice. That
Yeah,
it
it's
wasn't always
changing.
like that. That is literally from acid damaging
100.
his vocal cords,
It's
and
funny you
it's
said that.
awful.
Somebody, I saw a video of, I think it was on JTV, and it was old. It must have been like, I don't know, 8 years old. Who knows? I don't know. But it was Brett, and he sounded like a different person. He sounded like a kid,
Yeah,
not like a child almost. His voice was different. So
yeah.
yeah, so I think with the sleep apnea and then the acid reflux, it was fucking up all this shit here, from the fucking intestines to the stomach to the lining to the esophagus to, I don't know, everything was fucked. So
And I
I
know
think
with like I think with Brett, like he had some underlying issues that cropped up. Like I don't think he sometimes this stuff can be like drug induced, you know,
Mhm.
certain drugs will cause these things. I don't think that's what was going on with him because like he's like I think most of us have weighed more than him in the off season before, and we've never had these
Yeah,
issues, you know. So like he's
yeah,
just one of these unlucky guys that has digestive
100%.
problems.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
for
took
me,
him out of fucking Olympia this year. It's crazy.
Mhm.
when I tell people like the time frame from USA's to now, I put on like a little over 70 pounds in 5 months.
Mhm.
Like so, like my body is definitely fucking over it. I'll
You a little
tell you that.
tired, bro?
But
Fuck,
but
dude.
listen, you're doing a lot better than most, bro. Most people, I have a client who has really bad sleep apnea at 200 pounds. He's a little bigger now, but it started at 200 pounds, and he's what, maybe 1 inch shorter than you, maybe 5'7". So like you're taking it really well. Some people, so when you talk about genetics for bodybuilding, that's part of it. Being able to handle putting on 70 pounds, you know, and not
You know,
everybody
like
body
for
can handle it.
example, the only one who sees me like actually like doing the gagging and shit and like closing my eyes and just trying to breathe through a meal like towards the end of the day and stuff, and like trying to move around in my bed because my stomach's so full. That's my girl sees it, right?
Mhm.
And it's like people don't know what it looks like outside of me in a gym. Like
Yeah.
if oh Joe can just put down food, but I'm miserable because like I am fucking miserable.
Does your girl think it's hot when you're like
She
struggling
loves
to?
my gut, bro. It's like a weird thing. You know how girls say they like
I
dad
hate that.
bods? I swear
Yeah,
to God.
yeah.
So she said, I mean, she could be fucking lying to my face, bro. But I've been shredded. I've been normal looking.
Mhm.
She prefers Fat Joe.
Yeah,
She's
yeah,
like, it has like this daddy look. I like it.
bro. One thing I can say for sure, girls don't care about no damn muscles, bro. They don't care about you
They
being
don't.
shredded. They don't.
But
They-
like yeah, like I'm all hairy. I have fucking tits. Like I'm
yeah,
just a
they
big
don't.
guy, and she's like 4'11". So it's like I think it's like what's it called? Like
It's a Hispanic thing.
fetish, the fetish kind of thing. It's gotta be.
I feel like we spoke about that on another podcast. Like that is, it is a form of a fetish, man. Like
Yeah,
being,
bro. I look
yeah.
like a fucking big dad.
Uh,
I
Try
swear,
try not shaving. Just leave your armpits and chest all hairy and shit.
bro. It
That might
is.
take it to the next level. Oh, it is. Oh, there
It
we go.
is.
Now you're
Look at this
talking.
shit. You see that? But yeah,
Thank you, Joe. Thank you for sharing.
yeah, hairy
Christ.
shit.
Thank you for, what the hell is this? You can respond with a picture. You can ask a question with a picture. Is that
If
a
you
thing?
love me when I'm fat, you can have me when I'm fucking diced.
Amen.
Yeah. Hey,
All right.
this offseason is going to test your relationships, Abe.
Fair.
You've
Oh
been
yeah,
beautiful. You've been beautiful your whole career with her.
exactly, exactly, dude. It's gonna be a new ride for sure. We'll
Yeah,
see.
she likes your little dad bod, bro.
Yeah,
All right.
And you have dad calves.
He
yeah.
does. He got the
These
dad
New
cam.
Balances, baby.
Yeah, baby.
I
Do
was
you
actually
think?
thinking about getting some of those because, like, I'm gonna be standing around at the fucking Arnold for 3 days straight this year. Like, that kind of sounds like a good idea because they're super comfy, right? Like
Yeah,
New
hell yeah.
Balances, the Air Monarchs, whatever.
Wear those with either some jean shorts or khakis. You're
Mm,
set.
long socks.
That's a mean look.
New Balances, they were popular when I was in elementary school. So we're talking about what? How long ago would that be? Like 25 years ago? I don't know. They were super they were super comfortable. They were super comfortable, but I don't think I owned a pair since then. Everything comes full circle. So they were
You know
in,
what's
and then
funny? Oh, go
huh?
ahead. Sorry.
If you would have wore New Balances 10 years ago, it would have been like, what the fuck? What do you got on? Like, what are those? What are those? You know? But now it's like it kind of came back.
What tripped me the fuck out was when Champion became a thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That
Like
used to
Champion
be
I
was
used
like
to
the
do
poor
Champion
kids
as a
brand.
kid. My mom wanted to buy it for me. Like, nah, fuck that. I'm look like a loser. And now it's like
exactly.
popular as shit. Or I don't know now. But
Like,
how that happened?
yeah, the everything goes full circle. 12. All right. Let's do a couple more here. Do you think taking gear in your teens is too early? So but teens technically that would be under 18, but that would be 13 to 18. But let's include 18 and 19 since there's a teen in it. What do you think?
I think you limit your ceiling.
Hmm. You think you limit your ceiling?
Mhm.
Why do you think that?
Because it's like your body, what it can naturally do is actually pretty impressive.
Mhm.
Like your foundation can really set the bar high. So, for example, in my journey, right, I didn't start taking gear till right before, like literally, like 2 months before turning 27,
Mhm.
and people are seeing my numbers, right, and how high my weight is. I'm almost 300 pound bodybuilder, right,
Mhm.
and I waited for all the foundational, natural, like man strength, happened, and then I got here.
Mhm.
So I just think those people that start really, really early, they're gonna look great in their
Mhm.
20s and stuff. But for longevity reasons, they limit their ceiling.
So okay, if I'm gonna play devil that advocate, uh, advocate,
Advocate.
advocate,
Adequate. Adequate.
but
Somebody went to school in the Bronx.
I'm not. Yo.
Let me
In the last one, everybody was making fun of the New York accent because I said something about shoulder width. They were like shoulder width. Everybody was like shoulder
Width.
width. Yeah.
Width.
No, but
WIPTH. Width.
all right. So to play devil's advocate. Okay, well, what if somebody said, what about what I'm not saying I don't agree with you. I'm just saying this is what somebody might ask, right? What about somebody like Jay Cutler or Nick Walker or Bumstead, guys who competed as teens and were more than likely taking gear in their teen years and still got to the top of the sport and won the Olympia or got top 5 in Olympia? Like, what would you say about those guys? Like, is there a case to be made that maybe you still can?
I think so. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's a really good argument.
Uh-huh.
I think Jay, you need to be training for a couple of years first.
Mm-hmm.
Like Joe trained for years before he started drugs, and
Yeah.
fucking Jay was throwing hay bales around. He was a farm kid. Like when he was
Yeah.
like early teens, he was jacked, just like
Mm-hmm.
doing what he was doing, not even training. And then he
Yeah.
started lifting weights, and he got more jacked. And I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't start until he was like 19 or 20, because like look
I
at what
just
he
heard that.
became.
I heard on a podcast. I think he started on his No, he started the gym. Believe it or not, he started the actual gym on his 18th birthday. And
Oh, really? Wow.
I think Chris Aceto said he was natural at the time. So he might have hopped in. What did you say? I think like 19, 20 possibly.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
he'd been like training his, like he'd been using his body. Like the
Yeah.
dude was already fucking jacked at 18. He looked like a bodybuilder. He never lifted a weight. I
He
mean,
was, yeah. Okay,
yeah,
okay, so I actually do agree with Joe, but for different reasons. Okay, so Joe said longevity. I agree with that point. I think if like let's be real, if you've been blasting gear since you were 15, how long you think your career is going to be? But here's why I do agree with Joe, right? Okay, most people in your teens, chances are you are not maximizing all your variables, right? Let's be real. What 15-year-old is on 100% on diet? Maybe you think you are, but you're probably not. You also don't know your body well enough. I don't care if you're strong or you're training, you think you're training harder than this guy, or if you even are training harder than that guy. You're not training to the best of your abilities. You're just not smart enough. You haven't been doing it long enough to be able to do it. So because you're not maximizing your variables, you're only going to get so much out of it. Now, I still think if you're meant to be you, Joe has it. Joe has what it takes. If Joe starts at 17, I still think he becomes Joe. I still think he becomes Mr. USA. But what he lost on the back end in longevity, I don't think it's worth it because he still would have, maybe he would have won Mr. USA at 24, you know. But then instead of retiring at 45, probably going to retire at 35. So what you got, you're going to lose it on the back end. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, so what would be the point? Maximize 10 years of gear or bullshit for the first 6 years and still only master the last 6 years of it. It's kind of like pointless, right? So people are gonna want to do it and they're gonna be like, well, I think I can still get as big as if I started late. And I agree. I think Joe would still be a 260-pound bodybuilder, even if he started at 17. But he's just gonna lose more off the back end. And he's gonna be spending money that he doesn't have and do stupid shit like I did. You know, when I started, I wasn't a teenager, technically, but I did stupid shit like don't PCT, do a bottle test and be like, oh, I ran out of money. I'll take a couple weeks off and do another bottle test, bulking on McDonald's, shit like that. So you're better off waiting to a point where you're smart enough and in tune with your body enough to get the most out of it. And you still have just as long of a career, if not longer, and still reach your peak anyways. So I agree with you, but not necessarily because of the age itself, but what the age brings to the table, right? You just don't have the tools at that age, whether it's the knowledge or even financial stability, relationship stability. You just don't have what it takes to be able to maximize it. So it just doesn't make that much sense to me. People are
you
going to do it
don't
anyways. Uh-huh.
you don't know what the fuck you want at that age.
You know
Like
what the fuck you want.
99.9% of kids, you're trying stuff out when you're 17, 18, 19, trying to figure out what you want to do with your life, like trying
Yeah.
different hobbies, sports, drugs, whatever, like, and like this is like, maybe you start drinking or something. That's a little habit for a little while, right? You stop and
Mhm.
it's whatever. You stop drinking. I did that in
Mhm.
college. But like when you start taking steroids, it's like you can't just like rewind, unflip that switch. It's like that's a life-changing decision you just made when you were not at the right time in your life to make it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you've now done permanent, maybe not most likely damage, but maybe it's undoable, if you're smart
yeah,
about
yeah.
it. But like,
So,
you've crossed
okay.
that bridge. You can't uncross it. And you
Mhm.
don't know what the fuck you want to do with your life. I think Jay probably
Mhm.
knew what he wanted to do with his life very early on. So did Chris Bumstead and like a lot of the guys who got very far in the sport, like they knew
Mhm.
early on what they wanted. I knew pretty early on too. But
Yeah.
I mean, most people don't. And you look at all these young people on like who are big on social media now. I think personally, I think a lot of them going to be flashes in the pan. They're gonna be like, a one-time thing. They'll be gone in a year or two, and they won't even go to the gym anymore. Um, that's kind of sad because like they made these life-changing decisions already.
But it's true.
They probably restructured their life, quit their job to become a fitness influencer, and then it like peters out
Mhm.
and dies, or they lose interest or something. You don't want to put
For
yourself there.
for every Jay Cutler, for every Branch Warren, for every Chris Bumstead, right? Those are just the success stories. For every one of those guys, there's another 500 guys who did the same shit and amounted to nothing and fucked up their bodies. And nothing came out of it, or completely changed their mind and be like, I don't want to bodybuild anymore.
Yeah.
I know a kid named Omar. I met him in the gym when he was like maybe 19. And I see this kid. I hope he doesn't watch it. I don't think he watches these kind of stuff. But I see this kid at the gym. Not impressive. Not impressive at all. A lot of gyno. Just, but he was doing all these cool classic poses and vacuums. But there was nothing really there, right? Now, he hooks up with a coach. Actually, he hooked up with, if I say this, then maybe it'll be obvious. But I'm going to say it anyways. He hooks up with Phil Viv, actually. And then
Oh shit.
no, it's not like a bad story.
I like where this is going.
No, no, he hooks up with Phil Viz, and then he actually I see him during his prep, and I'm like, Omar, and he's like, and I look at him, I'm like, okay, you're getting pretty lean. That looks good. I was like, let me see what you look like. Peel off, let's see. And I'm like, huh. I didn't expect you to. No offense, I didn't expect you to look this good, But sometimes you don't know what's under there, right? I'm like, okay, I think you're gonna do really well. Now I talk about doses and stuff like that with him. I didn't like the doses he was on for somebody being like his first rodeo, shit like that.
And
I
how
thought it
old
was
was he at the time?
at this point maybe don't quote me, maybe 20, maybe younger.
Okay.
But don't quote me. Somewhere from 19 to 21, that age range, And I was like, okay, well, at least it's working. I don't agree with it, but it's working. He does the Cal. I want to say 2020, maybe 2021. Which Cal did you do, Joe?
22.
Oh, okay. So it was before that. And then this guy wins the overall in Classic. And I'm like, holy shit. And I'm looking, I'm like, he's a little undersized, but he ain't missing anything. He's just complete. All he had to do was get in shape. He was complete. He won. Now, fast forward, we're in 2023 now, a couple years later. He doesn't even work out. He's a DJ and he's making a ton of money DJing. And he's like this big time DJ. He's legit. Like people fuck with him. They'll fly him out to Dubai and all this shit. So think about it. He put his body.
I know him. I now
Oh,
know who
you know what?
who
Oh,
it
you know
is.
what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
he put his body through all of that. He even got gyno surgery. Remember I said he had gyno? That's a big investment. He invested a lot of money and a lot of time. And okay, we don't know what his health is looking like, what his blood work is looking like, but he invested a lot and put a lot in his body, maybe did a lot to his body, and now he has no interest in working out whatsoever. So that tells you when you put this much into it when you're young and start these things very early, you don't even know where you're going to end up. That's why when I heard the cycles and stuff, I'm like, does this really make sense? You don't even know if you're going to like it. You don't even know if you're going to be you know what I'm saying? So why go for broke right out the gate? I didn't agree with that, but that's basically a story to kind of see why you don't want to go gung ho as a teenager. It might not
I
make sense.
told the story before. I was starting to get recognized at Fit Nation because I dieted myself down for that first show with nobody's help, and until the very end, and I was doing like these chained lunges outside of the facility, and Paul comes out to talk to me. He's like, Joe, like, why haven't you taken any gear yet? Like, why are you doing this naturally? You work your ass off. I've watched you. Like, you train fucking hard. Like, you're doing a show. Why aren't you on gear? And I was like, I told him, I said, because I'm 26, right? I was like, I've trained for a long time. I needed to live life for a bit. And I knew putting gear in me was a life-changing decision. And I said, I want to do this first show naturally and see if this is something I want to take on the rest of my life. Like if this is the life I want to live. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's pointless to me if I'm going to do all that for nothing.
Yeah,
So I'm like, if I'm going to do this shit, I'm going to do it and go all in. And I want to know that it's worth it for me.
exactly.
So
It gotta
that's
make
why
sense.
I took so long, because I knew I didn't look at gear and say like, oh, it'll be tight to be buff as fuck. I was realistic. I knew that the people that were huge, it was literally like a life dedicating thing. Dude, I want that for myself. If I wanted to put that in my body and like have to monitor my blood all the time and do this and literally put my health on the line, maybe even lose some years, I'm like, is it going to be worth it? So when I placed so high as a natural athlete, that's when I said I believe this will be worth it. I truly believe it.
It has to make sense. There was a time, maybe like in my mid-20s, where if I would have met you and you would have told me that, I would have been like, "Well, you're wasting time. Why are you wasting time being natural when you could be so great?" But then, as the years passed, and I've seen more examples and seen more shit and became wiser and actually see what's going on, I realized that it's the same shit. Like Ronnie Coleman and Kai Green, they wouldn't have been any bigger if they would have started at 15. They're already two of the biggest guys ever. Like Stu, let's say Stu, if Stu was natural this whole time and and he's 25, you 25 or 26?
26.
You're 26 and you waited until now and you're like you're like 190, 200 pounds and you hop on gear, you're still going to win the USAs. You're still going to get up to 240, probably by like Joe did, and probably by the next year or the year after, and you're still gonna win that fucking USAs, and you're still gonna go to New York Pro, and you're still gonna win pro show, you're still gonna go to the Myth Olympia. It might happen 5 years later, but you're also gonna compete another 5 years longer. It's just the same thing happens, you know what I'm saying? So it ends up the same thing. So you're never wasting your time unless you wait till maybe if you wait till you're 30 to hop on cycle, you're probably pushing it at that point. You're waiting a little too
You're
long.
wasting your time if you're not mentally there. Like
Yeah.
when you're at a certain age, like Stu was saying, you don't know what the fuck you want. So you're not going to go all into something that you're not even sure about.
Exactly.
So like you have to know that mentally you're going to be able to take on what you're about to take on. Like that's why I've done a little bit of time outside of my genetics. I decided to go all in. Like there wasn't going to be a time that I wasted because I'm like, fuck, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it 100%. So
110%.
I didn't want to waste time because I already wasted all this time deciding, okay, this is what I want to do.
So okay. So this is my training partner, Nate, right? So Nate he's my neighbor. He lives in my building. I would see this guy downstairs and he's always buying a bunch of fast food and shit like that. And then I was like, yo, what gym you go to? My man was training in an apartment gym with 20-pound dumbbells.
Oh,
right?
Shit.
And I'm like, bro, let me see this. And I'm like, look at your back, bro. Look at your arms. Look at this. I'm like, how old are you? And I think he's like, I don't know, 25. And I was like, bro, you ever thought about competing? Bro, he don't even know what the fuck that shit is. You don't even know what I'm talking about, bro. He actually went to the Cal. That was the first show he ever went to. And now he's into it. Okay. That being said, he still eats what the fuck he wants. I got him to follow maybe 50, 60%. Now I'm like, bro, in my head, I'm like, I want this guy to get on gear at some point, but he's not even maximizing anything. And he has probably top 5 best physiques at any gym we go to.
I bet most kids nowadays, like TikTok kids, will look at this guy and immediately think he's on drugs. Because all of their friends are like, well, all of my friends take drugs. I take drugs, and I don't look anything like that.
Bro,
so they just assume.
Not even TikTok. At the gyms we go to, they don't even ask him. They assume he already is. Let's be real. Most guys on gear at the gym don't look like anything. So everybody, and mind you, he's keeping up somewhat to my weights. He's benching, over 3 plates. He's incline pressing. Let me see what he got here. But he's incline pressing. I don't know what he has here. He think I'm pressing, 130s, 140s. So everybody, they're talking to me and they're talking to him like, yeah, on this cycle I'm doing. And then he's like, I was like, bro, do you know anything he said? I was like, I don't know what the fuck he was talking about. He's like, yeah, I'm on Deca and I'm on training. And he's just like, oh yeah, yeah. Honestly, I told him, bro, don't even mention it because it's gonna create more negative than positive. If
Yeah,
he's
they'll
on
just get
Instagram,
mad at him.
exactly. If he's on Instagram talking about all natty, all this shit, he's just gonna get hate. I'm like, don't say anything because it's irrelevant. If he competes right now at a local show and I have him in as I guess maybe a middleweight, he's gonna win the show. It's irrelevant whether he's on gear or not because these middleweights aren't gonna have it at the national level. When you have guys who are 5'2", as a middleweight, yeah, he can't beat them.
He reminds me of
But
Quint Eastwood.
yeah, exactly.
Those kind of genetics.
So my whole point is that I kind of want him to hop on, but only after he maximizes it, because it's gonna be the same shit. If he waits till he's 26, 27, he's gonna be a legitimate threat, And he got wheels too, And this was him not even barely training legs and doing like running and jump training and shit. So him training like a bodybuilder, eating like a bodybuilder, he's winning every show. He's not going to lose a show. And, depending on if I can get him to a lightweight, he could even get his pro card as a lightweight. Middleweight, that's a little tougher because guys are, shorter and whatever. But as a middleweight, I have a friend who turned pro as a bantamweight naturally. That happens pretty often. But lightweight, it might be possible if you have those kind of muscle bellies, but I guess we'll cross that when we get there. But I think this guy is going to go really far if he wants to. I don't know if he wants to.
I know better than to like question that shit nowadays because
Mhm.
I've just seen so many examples at this point of people who just like would blow me out of the water like
Yeah.
naturally, and
Yeah.
they're probably not like if they're doing 60% like this guy is. He looks like that. I mean,
That's my whole
goddamn.
point. So it's like when people talk about genetics, like, yo, Beatty, you have top tier genetics. And I'm like, I don't think so. I think I have above average because I know people who do everything perfect and don't add muscle. Above average. But top tier, to me, that's top tier. To me is when you're natural and you look better than most enhanced people, that to me is top tier because I don't believe I can do that. I look better than the average gym goer natural, but only to some point. I didn't look better than enhanced guys, I think Stu natural, if he was natural until he was 30, he would probably look a lot better than a lot of guys on gear. But to do it in your early mid-20s and bullshitting, not even like you're on point, I think that's like top tier, So
Yeah, I have a video on my Instagram of me posing the day before my actual very, very first show. And I showed Justin Compton that video. And he told me that if he would have worked with me back then, that he would have turned me pro natural. But it would have been like as a I think
depends what you
light
weighed.
or heavyweight. I was a heavyweight at first show.
You were the
I was,
heavyweight as a natural.
or no, sorry, light heavy.
I mean
Sorry, light heavy.
that's still pretty. That's still pretty big,
I
bro.
was 187 at my very first show.
The issue is like nobody would believe you, but it's like you're not doing it for props, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Shall we do let's do one more question?
Mhm.
5 months of gain. How long until this is I feel like we should answer this. But let me see. I think he has an impressive physique actually, but I'm gonna answer it anyways. Okay. I've been lifting weights for 5 months. I weighed 140 to start. How long until I compete? Basically, he wants to know how big he should get. He must be pretty short. Let me click the picture. He must be on the shorter side because he doesn't look like he's 140 pounds. But yeah, basically, I'm gonna make it more general, not just for him, because I don't really want to pull up his physique. I don't want to do that the physique stuff. But how long should you wait before you compete? You're a guy. You started working out. You're making all kind of gains. When is the right time to compete? Let's start with Zaid.
It depends on your goal, man. Do you want to go far, or are you just doing this to say you do it? If you can get to the stage as soon as possible, then I value experience. Go for it. Enjoy the process. Don't expect to be a show winner from the first time out. That's really important to remember. Go enjoy the journey, do a lot of gains in the rebound, and find why do you want to compete, because too many people do it just for clout, and they don't have no idea how fucking hard it is to actually get in shape and step on stage. So it's going to expose really quickly if you like it or not, but just have a solid reason why you want to compete, and that's the right time for you to compete. You're
Bro.
going to get bigger as you go, so don't worry about not being big enough. There's always a bigger guy than you. And this is when I learned I don't need to wait until I'm 280 to compete. You just got to compete and make progress. This is actually shows people that you're more disciplined than others, by doing it at every size continuously versus just waiting to be 270 and then stepping on stage. It's just my opinion. But like I said, find the reason why you're doing this shit for.
Bro, you know how many clients I've lost? Well, I never had them to begin with, but like how many inquiries I've had and lost those clients just because I'm trying to look out for their best interests and give them real advice instead of being that coach who says, "Oh yeah, let's do it, let's go." If I have a guy, and this happens way too often, a guy that has never competed, is natural, been training, I don't know, a couple of years, and tells me that they want to be on the Olympia stage. That's what they lead with. Not even I want to step on stage. I want to be on the Olympia stage. That's what I want. That to me is like a second grader. Like I want to go to Harvard. It's like, have you thought about middle school? Like, what are we talking about here? Like, can we talk about middle school before we talk about fucking Harvard? So it's like, but when I say they get so pissed, some people just ignore me, stop responding to me, block me, or whatever the fuck they do. Like they get really heated. It's like I'm stepping on your dreams. It's the opposite. I think you're stepping on your own dreams by thinking like that. I think I'm trying to give you a way. Like, okay, how about this? Let's see if you like this shit to begin with. Because you start pushing food, I've lost clients from pushing food. Imagine losing the clients because you're pushing food. Oh, I can't eat this. It's too much.
You.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, I'm sorry, Bob. I got to leave for this other coach because your food is too much. It's like, oh, you can't be a bodybuilder. You can't grow. You're telling me you can't grow. So forget it. It's not gonna happen. So you just being honest like that, like what you just said, you're gonna lose a lot of clients. But I can never be the coach that is gonna be like, yeah, no problem. Olympia stage, here we come. Pay me $200. I can't, even if I wanted to and I had no money and I'm like, I need all the money I can. Those words can't come out of my mouth. My brain, it can't function that way. Sometimes I wish I could do that because I'm sure a lot of coaches make a lot more money than me by telling people what they want to hear. But I just, my brain cannot function that way.
I don't even
Unfortunately,
address that shit. Like if
you
someone
see?
is like, if they've never competed before, and, they're out of shape and they're like, I want to turn pro. I'm just like, okay, here's my intake form. We'll get on the phone and we'll talk through your goals and like talk about a first show first. I mean, I'm usually not really. I used to be different about this. Like you should look a certain way before you get on stage, but like I think you should go through that process and figure out if you like it. And if you
Oh,
hate it, then there you learned your lesson. I mean, and ideally do your first show not on drugs, because
mhm.
once you made that leap, like we were talking about earlier, it's like a huge leap. Um, but like, see if you like this, see if you like the lifestyle, see if you like prepping. Because if you hate prepping, then you're not going to want to compete very much. And like this is, go work out and be jacked. That's cool as well. But like, don't maybe avoid the competitive stuff. You need to learn that about yourself, and the only way to do it is to do it. Or the only
Yeah.
way to know that is to do it.
Mhm. Can you, it's like, can you get in shape? Is it hard for you to get in shape? Is it easy? These are things that this is why this is a struggle for me because I used to feel the opposite. In my head, I'm like, okay, I want to compete. I'm gonna wait, literally like what Zay said. I'm gonna wait till I'm like 270. That's the only time I feel comfortable competing. The issue with that is I don't have like Zayd has competed in a lot more shows than me, and it took him a long time to get shredded. But because he did so much shows, he figured it out. Whether it's him, his coach, whatever. I haven't figured it out because I haven't done enough shows because I keep waiting. At least I did before. I'm gonna wait 2 more years. Wait, let me hit 300. That's irrelevant if I can't get shredded. So the more, or I can't peak, right? Because sometimes it's like a push pull. If you're shredded but you're flat as a pancake, it's not necessarily beneficial. So to figure out that peak, you do have to step on stage. You only need enough time to progress, but don't expect to look like, Kai Green at his prime as an amateur, because Kai Green as an amateur didn't look like Kai Green in his prime. You don't start off looking like your peak, right? So everybody starts off, maybe as a light heavy, then a heavy, then this and this, and then they continue to progress. So you can't wait until you're 280 shredded before you do your first show or before you do your first nationals.
I
So
think
there's Mhm.
you should try and find a good local show to do though,
100%.
because like let's be honest, like a lot of local shows now are trash. Like there's two people in the
Yeah.
bodybuilding class and there's five guys in the classic class, and it's like, okay, what was the point of that? You didn't get to stand next to anybody legit and see what you look like in a lineup. Like how wide are you? How tall are you? What do your muscle bellies look like next to these guys? How does your conditioning look? Like
Mhm.
that's another really valuable thing. Like you have to look at those stage pictures of you standing next to everybody, and be honest. Like, hey, do I have what it takes here, or am I super narrow and I have wide birthing hips? Because if you do,
Yeah.
go play golf. The same for you.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
and if you're not honest with yourself, you just keep banging your head against the wall for years trying to win a local show, thinking you're going to turn pro eventually. Like, I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's best to learn that early.
Joe has no issues peaking. Every peak has seemed to be 100% perfect, spot on. So he can take more time off and not have to worry about not being able to come down and peak, right? There's people who can't do that. So everybody shouldn't do that, right? You don't want to overdo it or underdo it. So I think Andrew Jack is good for him to compete pretty often because he hasn't mastered the peak. Now, I think he's competing so often that he's not having any kind of off season or rest. That might be pushing it. So just a little bit more will probably be best. But then Samson competed a lot more than Andrew, and Samson has continued to get bigger and better and harder. There's still a way to go, maybe conditioning wise, but he's still improving. So you have to know yourself. Maybe Nick Walker doesn't bring his best physique if he does 10 shows, but Samson might get even better if he does, 6, 7 shows. So, Roman kind of looks the same. No, he's made some slight improvements here and there also,
He did 10 shows last year, though.
yeah, because he's just playing with different looks, right? So
Yeah.
like coming fuller here, so
And
it's like you kind of have
he's a career bodybuilder. He
is.
knows that he's not going to be like the shoe in to win every show
Mhm.
that he goes to, but he'll be in the first call out. He'll be in the
Yeah,
mix. And then
yeah,
if you do enough of them and you eventually win one of them and you collected a bunch of checks in the process, like there you go. You made some good money and you're going to the Olympia. Fuck yeah.
exactly, exactly. Did you answer the question, Joe?
No, no, I haven't.
Mhm.
So personally, it's called competition for a reason. If I'm going to compete, I'm trying to win. Like I will never put myself in a situation where I don't have a chance. So like I always thought it was kind of dumb myself to be like, oh, I want to do a show to said like I did it. That's like being a third string football player and staying on the team. Like, why the fuck are you there?
Yeah,
You just
yeah.
get a trophy at the end of it. Like I need to
Can I
know
ask you a
that I'm working
question?
towards something that's gonna be rewarding back to me. Like
Can I ask you a question real quick?
yeah.
Because you said that. Okay, so even though you say that, I know exactly what you're saying. But let's say you're about to do a show and you know that you're gonna be in contention for winning for sure. You gave it your all, but then you end up getting third, right? That don't mean you're gonna quit. It just means that you're only doing a show if you believe you can win, even if you don't win, right?
That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm
Okay,
not
yeah, yeah,
saying I'm gonna for sure win anything.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
exactly.
never
Exactly.
you're never guaranteed anything. But
Yeah,
if I'm doing something just to do it, I think that's
it's
stupid.
pointless. I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
I'm not doing the cow just to say, oh, I get to stand next to Stu. I believe that I have a chance. Like I do.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
also believe I can be beat. That's stupid for me to not think that. But
Facts,
I believe
facts.
I have enough to make it happen.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
wouldn't be doing this show if I was like, I just want to get my feet wet. No, I think that's fucking stupid. Like you got
yeah.
your
It's
feet
not
wet the
so.
very, very first show you ever fucking did. You know how it works.
Well, I think that's
Yeah,
the only time that it's acceptable. Like
Yeah.
after my
So
first
your
show, it's
very,
like,
very first show, like with anybody. So okay, before anybody does a show in general, go look at a regional show. Go
see
see the
what it looks
caliber of
like.
people up there, and now look in the
Yeah,
mirror and be like, okay, I think I have enough to do a show like this. It's kind of
exactly.
like there's a huge difference between an amateur or a regional level show and a national level show.
Night and day.
Like for
Mhm.
example, when you came and saw me and said, "Joe, it's dumb you're not doing USA's 2022." I know the caliber of people that I saw compete there, and I'm like, do I believe I can win my class? Yes, but I told you I want to do more than that. Stu
Yeah,
would have beat
yeah.
me for sure.
Uh-huh.
I didn't believe I had a physique ready enough to be an overall winner at a national show.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I needed to develop it
If
and believe I
if
could.
if, if Stu wasn't there, I think you would have won overall.
I
If
don't
Stu
know
wasn't
who
there,
who plays second
would
in
you have been a
super heavy.
heavyweight that
yeah, he would
year
have been a
for
I
heavyweight.
would have
2020?
been I would have been a heavyweight.
I think
So Austin, what's his fucking name? Austin
Conley.
something.
Conley.
Yeah, Austin Connolly won that year in the heavies.
There's no chance that Austin is beating Joe. There's zero
Yeah,
chance.
Joe's harder than him. I think
But
Austin
I
got a little
wouldn't
better shape, but
Yeah,
before I knew Stu, I just saw the pictures and I looked at Casey and Paul and I was like, look, do I believe I could have become a pro like Justin said? I do. I really do. I believe I would have beat that guy that won the heavies. But I'm like, I wanted that title and I knew I wouldn't
yeah.
have beaten Stu. Stu
Justin,
just, I had way
I've
more size on me.
I've known Justin. I don't know how long now. Justin is never wrong. If Justin says you're gonna turn pro, you're gonna turn pro. He's not, because he only says it if he like. I mean, granted, nobody, like, we're not judges. He's not a judge, but Justin knows. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, he was right. You definitely would have won a heavyweight. You would have not won overall. If Stu wasn't there, it would have been Brandon. I think you could have beat Brandon. I think you could have beat Brandon. You know, no offense to Brandon, but because how peeled you were, and even though you were smaller back then, your level of detail was even more. Actually, you know what I'm saying? It was pretty ridiculous, honestly. I don't think Brandon would have beat that, but that's just me
Yeah,
talking.
Justin was telling me, he said, I believe you will for sure win your class. I can't necessarily say you'll win the whole show. He said, but
Yeah,
a lot of times the super heavies aren't conditioned enough, so you have a chance. But he's like, I can't guarantee that though. And
yeah,
then that's when I said, look, as much as that sounds appealing to me, because he wanted Justin's plan for me was to win my pro card and then jump into the Tampa Pro, I believe, is a 212. Because
yeah.
I was only
oh shit.
215. My lowest weight for that whole prep was 210. So he
Bro,
could have gotten me down to 212.
your 212 career would have lasted one show. It would have lasted
He
fucking
literally
one
said,
day.
he said he wanted me to do 212. And he said, whether you get in the first, second, or three shows, he said, I believe you'll place high enough to accumulate enough points because the point system was still there and make it to the Olympia your very first year. He's like, but this would be literally the only time you'd ever be a 212. He's like, you would never be a 212 again.
Why do that? You know?
So I told him I want to become a pro and be ready for an open pro league competition. Like, I didn't want to do that 212 route. And
Yeah.
like you see, I'm 5'8.5". I'm like, I'm a little too tall.
Your
You're
weight
300 pounds, bro.
Yeah.
You're literally 300 pounds.
But
It just
you see
wouldn't
what I'm
make
saying?
sense.
Like, I didn't think, did I believe what he was saying? I mean, it's Justin. Of course I did. But I didn't want that for myself. I didn't.
Yeah.
I feel like that's when I felt like I would be wasting some time.
Yeah. Well, when I saw you, I told you that you should do USA's, and I was confident that you was gonna win a 212 pro show. But at the time, I didn't fully understand your genetics and what you could do. You know, like you said, you're 5'8". Like in my head, I'm like, that's not too far off, you know, for 212. At the time, you seemed big, you seemed developed. It didn't seem like you were gonna gain 15 pounds of muscle. That wasn't. It didn't even cross my mind that was the thing. I thought you were reaching like your peak, and you were gonna be around that look, you know, for most of your career. I didn't realize what was gonna happen. So in hindsight, it wouldn't have been a good choice. Granted, you would have still got where you got either way, you know. Long term, you probably would have still been in the same place either way. You know.
There's
When I
something to be
did the
said for
California, that was my fourth cycle.
Yeah.
I
Well,
only had
then
3
that's why.
cycles under my belt, and I knew if I gave myself a little more time, I could get that extra size to be able to do the show or to be able to win the show.
Well, that takes a lot of confidence to be able to wait, knowing that you would win, but you're gonna wait anyways. You know what I'm saying? That takes a lot of, you know, confidence and discipline, because somebody, you know, some people say, well, what if you get injured or something? You can't, bro. You can't think like that. That's not no way to think. You know. You said earlier, I was gonna say, you guys said the only time you should do a show, even though you know you're not gonna win if your first show. I would say the only other time that's acceptable is the Olympia. You can do the Olympia knowing there's no way I'm gonna win, but don't do it if you know you're gonna get last place. If you know for a fact you can't beat anybody, you shouldn't do the show. But if you
I'll
think,
say this, I
huh?
don't think I can win New York this year. I'm still doing it.
Okay, so yeah, that could
This
work.
is also my job, and you show up to work even when it's not going to be a home run. You know,
Now, but
different
there's still a
calculus.
chance. It's not like an impossibility, right?
Yeah, if
It's
everybody gets fucking cholera on the way in or something, like yeah,
No, well,
sure.
look, like, but like, see, like Stu, like, so he's doing multiple shows, right?
yeah.
The New York
That's
Pro is
different.
one show, and so he's putting himself in a position to stand next to some high level guys, which is only
That's
going to
smart.
make him look better.
That's
So
smart. Yeah.
even if, for example, if I find out that a big name, like let's just say a Hunter Labrada, on top of my head, does the Cal for some fucking reason, I will potentially be able to stand next to him, just like Stu did at the guest posing.
That's smart.
It's only going to bring me more attention. So holy shit, that's what he looks like next to that.
Thanks,
Yeah.
thanks for coping for me, Joe. It's really not necessary, but
But
no,
no, but
it's true. It's true, though. It's true.
It's true. Like you can't sell yourself short. Like, yeah,
No.
realistically, like, could you beat a fucking Nexzilla guy? I'm not lying. No, fuck,
No.
I can't beat him.
Yeah.
But will he even make it to the show? Will something happen? Like,
You don't
never
know
fucking
these
know.
things, bro. He might sit on a flight and come in watery soft. There's always something that can happen. Now, as an amateur, you shouldn't be doing any shows unless you believe wholeheartedly you can win the whole show, right? As a pro, it starts to change a little bit, because I said the Olympia, but technically the Arnold, right? You don't have to. Okay, if you're gonna do the Arnold, you get invited to the Arnold, and the Hadi and Samson are doing it. Okay, you can know you're not going to beat Hadi and Samson. Does that mean you're not going to do? You still should do, not should, but you still can do the Arnold, knowing that chances is you won't win. Like the bigger shows, if you have Nexzilla, you're doing the New York Pro, or if you have a lineup where you have these heavy hitters in it, sometimes you got to be able to stand next to them to be able to even move up in the rankings. Because like Joe said, you stand next to Hunter, and people are like, "Whoa, that's pretty close there. Let's keep an eye on it on this guy." Like you stood next to Tonio, or you stood next to, who else you stood next to? Who else was there at the other show? Well, you stood next to Tonio, is the top 8 guy, right? So like you stand next to these top guys, it makes people say, you know what, you know, so it can benefit you as a pro. As an amateur, fuck
like,
standing next to somebody.
you can literally get paid too. It's not like a losing money prospect, like every other show you've ever done before.
100%. Yeah. So to answer his question is that, yeah.
As an amateur, compete when you're ready, like physically ready.
Yeah. The best thing you can do is compare yourself. Like you said, pull up the pictures. You want to do the Cal? Pull up the pictures. Who won the Cal? Who won the overall? Now, some people are delusional. So maybe look at it and ask your not your random friends, people who know shit. If I ask Joe, yo, you think I can beat this guy? If I can't beat him, Joe will look me in the eye and say, Beatty, you're not gonna beat this guy. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not gonna say, yeah, go beat him, you know. So you gotta know who to ask as well. Or if you ask Compton or Blue, they'll tell you, you ain't beating this guy. Right now, no. Do you have the potential? Like that's what Compton used to tell me. He used to be like, now, Beatty, you have the potential to beat every single one of these guys. Will you beat them come June? That's a whole different story.
I'd
You know
ask
what I'm
Justin
saying?
every time. I would ask him every time. If I don't ask Justin, I'll ask Stu.
Yeah. No,
That's a good
simple as
one.
that. Don't tell me that, oh, yo, my girlfriend told me this is my best look. I'm like, what are you talking about? Now, some people, I'm sure, like Samson's wife, will be honest with him, but she used to compete. She's looking out for his best interest. She's not trying to be like a yes man or yes woman. But most of you guys please don't ask your girlfriend. Don't ask your mom. Joe could probably ask his mom because Joe's mom sounds like she knows what she's talking about. She knows what she's
My
doing.
mom's blunt as fuck, but she doesn't understand bodybuilding criteria that much.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Yeah.
all she says, she's like, you just stand out, Joe. But she's never seen me next to a bunch of pros. You know,
Yeah. When guys tell me, yo, guys at the gym tell me I have all this potential, I'm like, what guys at the gym? Who the fuck are they? What the fuck is that? You know, like who cares if Steve at the gym thinks you got what it takes? That's irrelevant. He's not judging. He's not a competitor. He doesn't know what he's talking about. You know, so that's not what you should do. You know.
Yeah.
But I feel like we've been on for a while now.
Yeah, like 2.5 hours.
I
gotta get out of here.
Yeah, it's just so long.
I gotta get a haircut. I gotta eat. I gotta do all type of shit. So, gentlemen, thanks for stopping by. Sorry about the wrong time, Zaid.
Oh, no worries, bro.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year, gentlemen. Hope you guys have nothing but blessings come 2024. And get them arms big as fuck, man, because without arms, you ain't doing
All that
shit.
matters.
Exactly. I just got a question for you guys before you go. Have you noticed any new moles on your body? Like when you do a big cycle? Like new
Wait,
moles?
A mole or like pimple,
They're
like cyst looking?
Mole. A mole, a regular mole that doesn't go away.
No.
Oh,
Not that doesn't go away. I get some like, I think they call it like cystic acne. Like I'll get like a huge, like almost like a boil, and it'll just stay there for so long, but eventually it does leave. You know.
No, I'm talking
I'll
about
get that
moles.
too.
Yeah.
Can I see it? Do you have one that I could take a
No,
look at?
I'm just getting like regular moles. Mole, like a flat one. Like you can't touch it, or
Really?
you just see it like a spot. Yeah.
I mean,
Hmm.
melanotan will
reason.
do that. But
I mean, I
I
guess
do 10 in the bed twice a week. In the bed.
I
Maybe
get
that's
some weird
it.
shit sometimes. I got some spots here before, but it usually clears up. Sometimes I think I chalk it up to my body adjusting to either coming off a gear or getting on gear. Sometimes my skin does some weird shit. You know, I get like some. I even get like a patch here, like an eczema looking patch, and just weird shit happens. But nothing that didn't leave before. Yeah, none that didn't go away. You know.
Yeah. I gotta
All right,
get it
You
gentlemen.
checked
spend a
out,
lot
I
of
guess.
time in the sun.
Huh?
You spend a lot of time in the sun.
Oh, Zayd.
Yeah. Not in the sun.
Oh,
I do 10 in the bed twice a week.
careful,
Yeah,
Zayd.
that might
Careful with the
Because
that
those
tan.
moles pop up a lot of times when you're in the sun a lot.
Yeah, you got to be careful with that. Zayd is Arab, so I would think his skin wouldn't be that sensitive to the sun, but you never know.
it
You are
is. It really is.
light skin
Yeah.
because your
Yeah.
complexion, you're pretty fair complexion.
Yeah. I get burnt really easily, and
Yeah,
that's why I don't really go to the sun that much, and that's why I tan. But
yeah.
not too much, I guess. But it's affecting me, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't overdo the tan though. I feel like that could have a.
I'm gonna overdo the tan this year, dude. I'm gonna slam a shitload of melanotan. I'm gonna be tanning in a bed like 3-4 times a week. I get crazy dark if I start doing that. So
Yeah,
I
because
think it'll actually help how I look on stage.
I was gonna say I think you're darker than Zayd, right?
Probably. Yeah. Just
think
wait,
so.
dude. It's gonna be crazy. I'm gonna be like
Yeah.
getting
Like me.
discounts to colleges and shit. It's gonna be It's gonna be wild. Scholarships, whatever.
Looking like me. You don't look like me on stage, bro.
I'll catch you.
For what it's worth, what it's worth, bro, I really think you can ring the New York, bro.
Thanks,
I
Zay.
really
So's my
think-
mom.
I think it's possible, man. You can outcondition all of them.
Hey,
You can do that.
we just talked about it, right? Neckzilla is a freak, but if you really break it down, it's really crazy legs. It's really even when you say legs, we're really looking at the quads, right? Let's be real. They don't judge calves. His calves are crazy, but we're really looking at quads. Now, if you look at like Stu's width, that's a huge advantage against somebody who has narrow clavicles, even if he is 280, whatever he weighs, right?
He doesn't have narrow clavicles. His arms are a little small from the front. They're very good from the side and the back. I don't know. I like overall his flow just kind of throws me off. I'm not a fan of it, but
That's what I'm saying.
like, let's be fucking real. Like they won him at the Olympia, so that can't hurt.
Yeah.
Like
I still got to say though, I think you have a higher chance than you think. Man. His condition isn't as good as yours. You know what I'm saying?
I definitely want to go against Tonio again because I like Tonio a lot.
Oh, Tony was doing it too, right?
Yep.
I'll go this far, right? I think Neckzilla is a freak in nature, and I think he's gonna do really well in the league. But I don't think anything is guaranteed. Like we talked about with Good Video, nothing is guaranteed, man. Nothing is guaranteed. You got to earn it. Just because, like I said, Compton tell me, just because you have the potential doesn't mean you're gonna get it. You still have to earn it. You still have to go and actually get it. So if he shows up thinking he's just gonna win, this is the IWB Pro League, bro. This ain't the what's the other shit called? The other league.
Yeah, but
No, this ain't the elite. This ain't the elite. This is not this is not McDonald's at home. If you don't bring it in this league, you will get buried, and that goes for anybody. Even a hottie comes in off, hottie will lose. You know what I'm saying? Like nothing is guaranteed in this motherfucker. Fucking Ronnie lost to Gunter, bro, not Jay Gunter. You know what I'm saying? So don't sleep on yourself, Stu. I think it's more than possible. I don't think it's like we're not talking about you going against Phil Heath here, bro. You ain't going against fucking Ronnie Coleman. You're going against Neckzilla, which is scary, but still.
Well, we'll see. I gotta get out of here, guys. So,
all right, bro. All right, Stu.
Go
Go train arms.